Hey, how you guys doing? This is Peter Sabo. Super excited to have you on. The title of today's presentation is how this 19-year-old kid manifested $1 million business, found the love of his life, traveled to 20 plus countries, and most importantly, how you too can manifest anything you want fast, even if you don't believe you can. Now, I know you've been to a lot of these webinars and some of them just don't live up to the promise. So I want to make sure that this one's different. You're going to learn real stuff that you can apply, you can get results with. And, I really want to respect your time. So let's dive right into it without further ado. So presenting live on this webinar is myself. I made over $1 million by the time I was 19 years old. And by 21 years old, I've helped hundreds of people manifest a life they love too. And collectively, we've made over tens of millions of dollars. Now, my assistant is on the call today as well, Aaron. He's going to be helping me with the webinar, answering questions on the right-hand side. Now, just a quick side note, the chat is set to private, right? Because a lot of people share personal stuff, business goals, so we want to keep it private. Only myself, and Aaron can see it. Now, he'll be replying to some of them throughout the webinar, and then at the end, I'll be taking a bunch of questions, doing a Q&A. So that's how it works. If it was public, it'll just get a little bit messy. You've probably seen it happen on YouTube, on some other places, so that's why we set it up this way. And look, it's not just my results. Here's some people that attended in the past, and here's what they said. And mentioned, I must say, I never seen a webinar like this about manifestation. Everything finally started to make sense. Faye, yesterday I was suicidal. But having listened to your webinar changed my perspective on things, especially when the part you said what a gift it is to be alive. And that means a lot to me. And Sarah mentioned the changing memories part totally blew my mind and it made it so worth it. So I'm very excited for you because you're going to learn some good stuff that you can actually apply in your life, create more health, wealth, love, and happiness. Who this is for? It's for anyone, whether you're a newbie into this stuff or you're a veteran, you're experienced, who wants to manifest blank, fast, and on demand. Now, whatever blank means to you, could be more health, could be losing some weight, could be creating more wealth in your job or your business or investments, more love, finding the one, or just more happiness, releasing anxiety, depression, whatever it is, we're going to cover it. And it's perfect for both the spiritual crowd, the pragmatic crowd, and the people in between. Now, my goal for this webinar is really show you the only way for you to actually manifest what you want fast without having to believe. I mean, when people tell me, oh my God, you got to ask, believe, and receive, I kind of cringe a little bit because I've done that before. And the only thing that happened is I got kind of anxious because when I was thinking negative thoughts, oh my God, I thought I was going to attract something negative. And when I didn't get what I wanted, then the person that I was learning this from would tell me, oh, you have to believe harder. Right? And I asked him, well, how am I supposed to believe in something if it's not a reality? How am I supposed to believe I'm making $1 million when I look at my bank account and it's not the reality? Or that I'm lean 10% body fat when I look in the mirror and it says otherwise, right? So now I'm going to show you how to get rid of that belief idea because it's not necessary and it's going to make everything so much easier. And I'm going to show you the only way to do that is to first become a version of yourself who already has what you want. And we'll talk more about that. And the only way to really upgrade your identity like that is through a process I call source hacking, and it works every time. So what we're going to cover is the real secret behind the secret movie or book. You might have heard about it. The only way to permanently and quickly reprogram your unconscious mind that's been sabotaging your success and manifestations all along, and how to manifest more in 30 days than you normally do in 3 years, and how to do it consistently, predictably, reliably, without having to hope or believe that it works. Plus, there's going to be, like I mentioned, a live Q&A at the end, so you can ask me any questions and I'll be here to answer them. If you stick with me till the very end, I'll also give you the entire PowerPoint or keynote presentation for download so that you can refer back to it. And it also includes the step-by-step manifestation process I use that works every single time. Please note, there's not going to be any replays. Look, this is not my first rodeo. I've done this before. And there's a big difference. When people actually show up live, they make it a priority, they focus, they close all the distractions, which I hope you've done as well. They just get a much, much better value and experience out of this. They retain more information, they get better results, the energy's better, the communication's better. You can ask me and Aaron questions. So I've tried the two, and we're not doing any replays on purpose. So if you want to, have the best experience, take the most value home, make sure you stay live to also get the slide deck and have the best experience. So quick bio, because you may be asking, okay, who's this guy and why should I listen to him? And that's a good enough question. My name is Peter Sabo. I saw The Secret, the movie, at 11 years old. And fast forward a few years, I made my first million by the time I was 19, met the love of my life, and I really manifested a life I love, and I helped hundreds of other people do the same thing. But it wasn't always like this. You see, when I was 11 years old, actually things almost started out of desperation. I was forced to become the breadwinner for our family in a way. Because at 11, I remember sitting at the kitchen table across my dad where they made that decision. You see, they decided to take up multiple loans and invest all the money they had and money they didn't have into a multi-level marketing company. Now, next thing we knew, it didn't work out. So, I thought to myself as an 11-year-old kid, if only I could make more money, all these problems would go away, because we were a, average Slovakian household making $400 or $500 a month. So when we took on all those loans, our life quality dropped significantly. And really deep down, beyond just making money, I just wanted to stop seeing my parents suffer, because they meant good. They just wanted a better life for all of us. But it actually kind of accomplished the exact opposite. So I was very lucky, because at that time, at 11 years old, I saw this movie called The Secret. And I believed in it. I believed in it just like a kid naively would believe in a Santa Claus, And it really gave me that courage, that idea that you can have anything you want, even if you're a nobody. Because back then I was 11, I barely spoke English. It's not a native language here. And I had nothing going for me, no experience, nothing. Yet, with that courage, I went onto Google and I decided I'm going to find a way to make money. So I typed in how to make money online. That's how my journey began. I remember initially I was making a couple cents a day. It took me months to make my first dollar. I remember classmates would literally laugh at me and say stuff like, and make fun of me, say stuff like I wouldn't even bend over to pick up the amount of money you're making from the streets, because it was so laughable. And needless to say, I was humiliated, I was embarrassed, but I kept at it because I had this deep drive to give back to my parents and let us have a better life. But frankly, for many years, I struggled, and it was laughable. Even if I made a little bit more money here and there, started making like $100, $200 a month, it was still nothing, even though I was putting in many, many hours every single day next to school, elementary school, high school. But at one point, I didn't meet this guy, but I saw this guy's ad and pretty much webinar out there just like this one. And this guy was doing $2 million a month with consulting, right, with an online business. And he made this insane offer that if I pay him $2,000, he's going to teach me how he made money. And I, pretty much at that time, for working for like 4 or 5 years, I scraped together all the money I had. So it was by far the biggest leap of faith in my life. And I pretty much gave him all the money I had in hopes that this guy would teach me something. And he taught me something very, very life-changing, which was that if I wanted to have what I wanted, I would first have to become a version of myself who already had those things, and then things would fall into place. Now, when I started upgrading my identity like that, things changed. And I started becoming a successful businessman. I wrote a #1 bestseller. I had the privilege to get millions of views on my stuff, speak on stage internationally, grow my business to over $1.2 million per year, invest in charitable events and meet the likes of Halle Berry, Matthew McConaughey, John Travolta, Ashton Kutcher, and really traveled the world, which is one of my passions, met the love of my life. You see us in Bali, teaching the kids English in France, Disneyland, in LA at the Santa Monica Pier. And in the middle, you see my parents and I and her in Manhattan. I took them there, I think it was last year, for a few weeks, and it was like a $20,000 trip. But I was so grateful I could give them this amazing, beautiful gift to see America, because, on a $400 or $500 per month salary, there's no way they would have ever been able to afford it. And it really filled up my heart to see them so happy. I remember my mom, we took this ferry to see the Statue of Liberty, and she was just so happy, and it literally brought tears to my eyes that I was able to gift them with this. Because once I changed my identity and I became the healthier version of myself, the happier, the wealthier version of myself, things start to fall in place. Things finally clicked, and I finally started manifesting. But look, if you didn't know this, it's not your fault, because we're told how you manifest or how you create things is you envision something you want, then you kind of forget about it and cross your fingers it happens. And like I said, if it doesn't, your coach, your guru is going to tell you, oh, Bob or Cindy, you didn't believe hard enough. And I call a bunch of BS on that, because it's not true. And I'm going to prove it to you that why it is not true. And I'm going to show you the other way, because it really comes down to changing your identity first. And then the universe moves mountains to get what you want. And it's not just my results. I shared these ideas and principles with my clients, with my students. Here's a prime example, Mike Delev. He came to me, he was struggling in his business, been trying to do it for many, many years. I showed him how to create a version of himself who was already making a ton of money. And then he used some of the techniques to become that version that I'll be teaching you live on this webinar. And he managed to close $30,000 in 7 days with my guidance. Then there was Chris. Same thing here. He says, I was worried about getting the money. Then out of nowhere, $2,000 came out. It took me 30 minutes to get the money, and it pretty much came out of thin air. So even if you've been struggling for many months or years or even decades, once you understand this key distinction, things finally start happening. And this is really why I do what I do, because looking back on my journey, it's very obvious that I'm not a self-made man. I don't consider myself a self-made man, because there were so many people, mentors, coaches that helped me on my journey, that took me under their wings. And sometimes it was a massive investment I had to make in myself through their coaching program, mentorship program, course, or mastermind. But without these people, I would not be where I am today. So I feel obliged. I feel like I need to now pay it forward and give it back, because I was given so much love. You see, I never intended to have $1 million business. I never intended to live, I could not even imagine living a life like this. But because of these people, I was able to do it. So I'm here today because I want to spread this message. I want to give back. I want to pay it forward. And I think it's an important side note mentioned here is I built my $1 million business under my digital marketing agency. So what I'm doing here, I'm not a spiritual guru. This is not how I make my money. I'm just doing this as a passion project, because this is really what changed my life more than the business tactics or anything like that. So I'm very excited to be sharing this with you, and I really hope it's going to serve you. Now, for just a moment, I want to pause. Let's take a deep breath as I take a sip of my water. And just for a moment, I want you to envision yourself in 3 years. What kind of health, wealth, happiness, love would you experience in 3 years? Now, we're going to collapse the time here. It doesn't have to take 3 years, but just for a moment, if you close your eyes, where would you like to be in 3 years? Just see what you would see then, feel what you would feel then, hear what you would hear then. How would life look like? And the reason I'm doing this little exercise with you is because all this stuff that I've experienced, I went from a life destined for average, mediocre, and just not a lot of happiness to a life I completely love. All of that started with a small decision, with a small visualization where I imagined what I wanted. And then I made a decision that I'm going to commit to having that reality. I don't care what it's going to take, but I'll find a way to get my parents out of debt, and I'll find a way to give us a better life. And it all started with this small decision, no matter how crazy the story seems. So I invite you to do the same thing. Make that decision. Whatever you've envisioned, it is 100% possible. But before it becomes a reality, you have to make a decision that you commit to experiencing this. So let me know. Let me know in the chat box if you agree. Just send me a little yes. Or tell me that you made the decision that whatever you envision, you're going to find a way to make it happen no matter what. Of course, everything being within integrity, but you're going to find a way to make it happen. Let me know in the chat box. Because frankly, at this point, if you envision what you want and you don't commit to doing it, it's pointless to continue in this webinar. So if you're not committed, now's the time to jump off. If you are committed, and you'll let me know in the chat box, I promise you I'm going to show you a way to get there, and you're not going to regret it. All right, I see a bunch of people said yes. Perfect. Let's dive in. So the 3 secrets I'll be covering literally in just a minute is the real secret behind the secret, the only way to permanently and quickly reprogram the unconscious mind, how to manifest more in 30 days than you normally do in 3 years. So before we dive right in, let's set some house rules just to make everything very clear. This is not some get-rich-quick scheme. I'm not providing any medical, legal, financial, or any sort of professional advice. The information here is for educational purposes only, and neither my results or my student results are typical. The people you're going to hear about actually put these principles into practice, and in no way, shape, or form am I promising these results to anyone, because frankly, I can't guarantee that they'll actually do something with this information, because most people just listen in, never do anything. And the small percentage that actually gets results takes the information and implements it. So I really hope you're in the second crowd. Long story short, I'm simply sharing with you what has worked for me and my students. So secret number 1, the real secret behind the secret. So I want to share a quick story with you. I just want to elaborate on that story where I found this guy was making $2 million a month. I paid him the $2,000. It was actually $2,388 in total because I had to do the payment plan. I didn't have all the money up front. And here's the receipt, so you know I'm not just making this story up. And essentially when I joined, it was very interesting because he taught me the biggest lesson. I think that was the missing piece to the law of attraction, quantum physics, manifestation thing that finally made it work. And it was understanding this. I understood that the famous law of attraction statement, like attracts like, what it really meant. I understood that you don't actually get what you want. You get more of who you are. Think about it. It states like attracts like. So this is why the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. You've probably seen this happen in real life. And this is why the ask, believe, received idea is flawed, because you don't attract what you desire. The fact that you desire something implies that you lack it. You don't desire something that you already have. Therefore, there's a big misunderstanding in this whole community. People go out there and they try to visualize and meditate and do affirmations and imagine what they want. They never get it. Even if they do, sometimes they maybe manifest the small things, not the big things. And then it's very inconsistent, very unreliable, and it just plain simple doesn't work. Matter of fact, when I was starting out and I was using that method of visualizing, really all I would get was anxiety. Because every time I would think a negative thought, I'd be thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm going to attract this, right? And it is just not true. Again, you don't get what you want. You get who you are. You get more of who you are. And it meant that if I wanted to be a happier, healthier, wealthier version of myself, I first had to become that person, and all those things would eventually fall into place. So I literally designed a 2.0 version of myself who had the things I wanted. I wrote down all the things I wanted. I wanted to be in better shape, more energy, feel happier. I wanted to find the love of my life. I wanted to make more money. So I wrote all those things down, right? It's right over here. And then I literally crafted an identity, a version of myself who already had those things. Now, of course, this is 7.0. You know, I didn't just make this stuff up now. I've been doing this for many years. Each and every year, I create 1 or 2 versions of myself so I can constantly upgrade myself. But, you know, I started out at 2.0. And when I did this, things started happening. Here's one example. My business, I told you back then I was lucky if I made a few $100 per month. Once I implemented this, things start to change. And very, very quickly, literally within a couple months, I managed to scale my business to $10,000 a month. So look at this number right here. That is over a 2,700% improvement. Major leaps, because finally I was working on my identity instead of trying to meditate and imagine things would happen, you know, the things that I wanted. Instead, I became the person who already had those things, and then things just started falling into place. And I wasn't alone. I started sharing these ideas with my clients because they worked so well for me, and they followed. Here's Chris, another Chris, sent me a video testimonial. He implemented some of the ideas I shared with him. In a week and a half, I made $4,000. Boss Johnson here, now he's doing over 7 figures a year. That's over $1 million. When I shared this with him, literally in a very short amount of time, he tripled his results in business. That's unheard of. These are big changes. So the real secret behind the secret, you may be thinking, well, but you can't change your identity, or can you? You see, that's what I thought as well. I thought identity, or who we are, is something you're born with. But the reality is actually that you develop identity. That's why you can have twins, but they may look very similar, but they become two different people, completely two different people with different personality, goals, and aspirations, because who you are and how you perceive yourself, the self-image, the identity, is actually developed based on the experiences you have in life and how you interpret them. And I'm going to talk more about that, but you're never just born a certain way and then you die as the same person. You constantly are changing your identity. But most people are like a leaf in the wind. They're kind of blown around by life, and life decides how they end up. You can also consciously, deliberately design a version of yourself and become it. But frankly, most people don't know how and don't even know where to start. But don't worry, I'll cover that in today's presentation. Or you may be thinking, well, but aren't we just supposed to be ourselves? I mean, people tell me just be who you are, be authentic to yourself. And I agree, because when you design an upgraded version of yourself, you're not really becoming someone different. I have this fundamental belief that when we're born from this pure, unconditional field of love. That's who we are. We're born perfect. But then we grow up and we learn that we are not. We forget about how amazing we really truly are. And we learn all these limiting beliefs that we are not enough, that we're stupid, that we're not beautiful enough, or handsome, or whatever the case may be, or I can't do that. And the reality is those are all learned things. You were not born with those beliefs. Think about it. When a baby's born, they're not born with the belief that they're not enough. They think they're pure, they think they're innocent, and they're perfect the way they are. And that's really how we are, but we learn that we're not. So when you upgrade yourself and when you change your identity, you're not really changing your identity. You're just becoming more of your innate self. You're just becoming more of who you really are by peeling away the layers of the onion. So you're just becoming more of who you are, the perfect version of yourself. So the real secret behind The Secret, the movie, is that you don't attract what you want. You attract more of who you are. And when I realized that and I started taking action on this principle, gosh, things changed big time. So I really hope you're taking notes, because this stuff is very powerful. And I didn't understand this for a very, very long time. It took me years to figure this out. But the moment I did, things start to finally happen and manifest for me. So let's move on to number 2, the only way to permanently and quickly reprogram your unconscious mind. You see, at this point, I was making pretty good money. I mean, $10,000 a month was a lot of money in my country. It was more than all my teachers combined that they were earning. But I didn't want to stop there. I still wanted to be able to earn more, give more, and just continue living a better life, because progress equals happiness, right? So I started watching this guy on YouTube, and it was fascinating. I think this guy was a genius because he was doing something rather interesting, rather counterintuitive that I would never think about. And when I understood what he was doing, it made complete sense. And finally, I really truly understood like the inner workings of the quantum law of attraction, why it works, why it doesn't work for some people. And the reason I paid so much attention, because this guy was getting crazy results for his people. He was helping people make more money, get rid of anxiety, depression, healing disease, healing pains and ailments that have been there for years, decades. And these people have tried everything, doctors and meds and taken hardcore action like hypnosis, you name it, they've tried it in the book. And this guy was like the final stop in a way, like he was the final destination. People finally got results. And really, I believe it was because he finally addressed the root cause behind their problems, right? Here's what the problem is. We have a problem in our life, and then we try to fix the problem, right? I'll put a P there. But we don't understand that the problem is not the problem. The problem is a symptom of a deeper root cause. So there's something going on down here that is causing this. And most of us try to fix the problem, but this is what we're supposed to address. And that's what the guy helped me understand, the real source of our problems. And these are all true stories that I've heard of when I was to his events or from YouTube. I paid this guy thousands and thousands of dollars to learn directly from him. And there's a prime example. There were two twins. One of them was awake, one of them was asleep. There was and they must have been super young. So there's a dog comes around barking. And the kid that was awake enjoyed it. Haha, there's a dog, so cool, so fluffy. And it was a tiny dog, by the way, not like a scary one. The other twin got startled, right? He woke up, he started crying, the dog scared him. And now fast forward decades, the guy's like 30, 40 now, he's still scared of dogs. He has like a PTSD from this experience. And anytime he passes by like a small, tiny dog, he thinks to himself, oh my God, danger. And he doesn't do it consciously. It's an unconscious process. His body goes into fight or flight. Now, when you understand how this process happened, how this problem got created, you start to understand like, there's actually nothing wrong with him, because that's what he thought about himself all his life. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why do I get scared of these dogs? I don't get it. But when you understand that his brain linked dogs to danger, now it makes sense why his body is acting the way it is. There's another example. This little girl was sleeping in a bunk bed. Now, she was on the lower level, and in the middle of the night, the bed collapsed and her sister fell on her. Now, she couldn't breathe. It was a very traumatic, scary memory of her. And then fast forward now, she's like 60 plus years old. Ever since that day, she's had insomnia. And same thing, she was thinking to herself, what's wrong with me? Am I broken? What's wrong with my biology? She's tried supplements, she's tried methods, she's tried EFT, she's tried hypnotherapy, affirmations, prescription drugs, and nothing seems to help her, because the moment she tries to go to sleep, her body is just in fight or flight mode, stressing out, worrying about everything. And until she understood where this problem came from, she felt really terrible about herself. But when you really think about it, is this a mistake that she has insomnia? Or is this a gift? Is this actually her body, her brain trying to protect herself, because it learned that going to sleep can mean death, can mean danger. She almost died when she was a kid. So now when you really connect the dots, it makes perfect sense. Now when she changed the memory of the bed falling on her, and it now became a peaceful memory of just getting good sleep, her insomnia vanished overnight. Same thing with the guy. When he changed the memory, the dog phobia went away. And I'll talk to you more about it, how to do it, but I just want to get the point across. This happened to me too, and I know it happens to a lot of people. They grow up in a middle-class family or maybe slightly below middle class, and then they learn that this is who I am, this is what's familiar, this is my family, this is what is safe. So they try to go out there and try to get a job or try to start a business. And it almost feels like there's this invisible glass ceiling on their income levels. Like no matter what they do, they cannot seem to break through. And I've been there for many, many years, and I've talked with a lot of client students. They experience the same problem. Why is that? Well, because you learned and your brain learned that this type of income is safe. This is what's familiar to me, which familiar really equals safe. And if you start making more money, the body, the unconscious mind kicks in and regulates itself, so you never make more money than what you think is your threshold and what you think is safe. So you'll constantly self-sabotage yourself on the unconscious level. This is why a lot of people who win the lottery, I mean, statistically speaking, I don't have the exact number, but it's like people who win the lottery, 80% of them within a year or two are right back where they were, even if they win millions and millions of dollars. How can a person splurge and waste millions and millions of dollars? Because it's too much money. They can't handle it. Their unconscious mind says it's danger, it's unfamiliar territory. It's going to do everything in its power to get rid of it, even if consciously it sounds like the dumbest thing to do. So for me, unless I rewrote my past, that I came from a rich family, I could never make more money than my parents. Another typical example, did you notice that people who are generally speaking overweight, they tend to hang around other overweight people, or they tend to come from an overweight family themselves? And again, I'm not pointing fingers, not saying it's right or wrong or trying to make fun of anyone here, because I've been there too. But if you grow up in an overweight family, then that's what you'll learn is your tribe. Now, if we go back millions of years in evolution, to be a part of your tribe, equaled survival. You could not survive on your own, so you had to be a part of a community, a tribe. So that's another fact. If everybody around you is overweight, then that's what your brain is going to associate with safe, with homeostasis. That's just who I am. And I don't care if you try 1,000 diets, even if you starve yourself, even if you buy liposuction, you may try to mask the problem for a while, but in no time you'll be right back where you were at the exact same level, because that's your unconscious set point for your weight. And this happens to a lot of people. This is why they experience these yo-yo diets and never really get anywhere and constantly self-sabotage themselves, because they don't understand the problem is not the weight. The problem is not the lack of money. The problem are the memories that keep them from making more money and losing the weight. Another very classical example, kids laugh at you in front of the class, and then you develop this idea, this belief that I'm not good enough or I'm not smart. And then, that haunts you for the rest of your life until you go back to your past and change that memory. So the biggest thing I learned is, life happens. We go through life, we're born, we're given a set of parents or caregivers, we go to school and we learn, right? We observe, and that's how we encode life experiences as memories. Memories are nothing more than our life events and experiences saved in our brain. Now, a lot of people think that these are accurate one-to-one representations of the past, kind of like a dictaphone, like what you speak to it is what is going to record, but that's not quite true. Each and every memory that you store is actually distorted, and every time you revisit it, it auto-updates. So each and every time you go back to a memory, it slightly saves differently. Now these memories act as proof for your identity and beliefs. Again, think about it. When a baby is born, not a single baby is born with a set of beliefs. A baby doesn't think of themselves that they're ugly or they're not good enough. It's just not true. You start from scratch. There's no belief. So where do these beliefs come from? Well, they come from memories. They come from proof and emotion. You go through life, just like I mentioned here, and kids laugh at you in front of the class. That is the proof. That is the memory. Plus, with the emotion of humiliation, embarrassment, boom, a belief is born that you're not good enough. So a lot of people try to work on their beliefs or their identity, but that's still not the root cause. That they may try to break limiting beliefs, but they still don't lose the weight. They still don't make more money. They still don't get the result they want. Because a belief is not the problem, it's a symptom. The problem is here in the memories. Of course, we can't go back and change the past, but we can go back and change the memories. And then that'll change everything above it. And then the identity beliefs you have creates your day-to-day thoughts, then your emotions, then the actions you take, and ultimately the results you get in your life. And this is where I see the biggest problem of it all, that, people look in the mirror, they don't like what they see, they try to change their actions, they try to change their behavior, they jump on a diet, and 2 weeks later they're back where they were. It doesn't work, it never changes. People try to give up smoking, and it does never work. The result is never permanent. Then some people try to work on the emotional level or try to think different thoughts, and maybe they get a tiny bit of a result, but it's still not a big change. It's not really what they want, and it's not permanent, because sooner or later they'll bounce back because they're still working on the symptoms, not the root cause, which is the memory. So here's the bottom line. If you want a better life, if you want more health, wealth, happiness, the biggest number one thing you got to understand, that if you want to change your identity, your beliefs, thoughts, actions, emotions, and ultimately results you have in your life, you must change your memories to get a different result. Now, by the way, the really good news about this process is the understanding, the biggest thing I really got from this is you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not unworthy. You're not undeserving. The universe or God or whatever you believe in is not out to get you. There's nothing wrong with you. Please understand that. That's the biggest thing. Because your brain is just trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you in homeostasis with what you know. It's the best you know, and it's not your fault. So please don't beat yourself up anymore. Now you know the truth. And these memories that we experience, they make up our identity, our beliefs, our thoughts, our actions, and emotions, pretty much everything about us. And it creates who you think we are, how much money you can make, how healthy or happy you can be. And you may desire more health, wealth, happiness, but if your unconscious references, if your memories contradict it, you will never ever get what you want, as it's not safe, and it's not who you are. Just like a thermostat, if I set it to 40 degrees and it gets a little too cold in the room, then it's automatically going to regulate itself back to 40. If it becomes 41, 42, automatically it's going to regulate itself down to 40. So you must change the memories to change your set point. Until you fix the real root cause of your problems, which is really changing memories, you will never manifest your goal. And even if you make progress towards it, you end up sabotaging it, or even worse, you get what you wanted, but then you're going to feel miserable. This is what happens to so many people. They work hard, they hustle, and even if they get what they wanted, now they're miserable because they created this whole thing from a place of pain, undeserving, and just feeling terrible. So really, the only way, the fastest way, the easiest way for you to get what you want and manifest what you want is to rewrite your past so it aligns with your desired future. Look, when I did this, when I rewrote my past, my present and future changed. In a very short amount of time, I grew my business from $10,000 a month to $50,000 a month. That is a 5x. That is a big change. And if you ask anyone in the business space, they're going to tell you that is not normal. That is not average. People don't usually see such a big jump. Then I even managed to attract my soulmate. This is JL. She's the love of my life. We just had our 2nd year anniversary. We've been traveling the world. I love life with her, and I just feel so honored, blessed, and gifted. When I started to share these things with my students, things got exciting. Sylvia, for example, before she came to me, she was on a corporate job. She hated it. She was making good money, don't get me wrong, but she just hated it. She wanted something different, more freedom, travel the world. So she tried this whole business thing on her own. Fast forward a few months, she was $60,000 in the red. She lost a ton of money. Then at one point she realized, look, I could be doing this on my own, but at this point she understood it will take forever. It takes a ton of trial and error. It takes a ton of money. So it'll be smarter if I just find someone who's getting the results that I want to get, and I just pay them money to show me how. It's just much, much faster that way. So she knew that I built $1 million business. She reached out to me. She became a client, and I shared some business principles with her, but then we worked on her past, rewrote memories, and within a few months, she scaled her business to 6 figures. That means over $100,000 a year. And actually last month, she did $30,000. So now she's projecting to do over $250,000 this year. And I'm extremely, extremely proud of her. Another example is Jade. I asked her in a survey when she went through this training program, what was the biggest result she got? She said, my life used to consist of worry and drama. But since I found the memories that these problems were stemming from and worked on them, I feel much more at ease. Plus, I no longer use my anxiety meds nor my antidepressant. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not recommending you drop your medicine. Don't get me wrong. But just listen to the story. Even though the doc was in shock when I told him the crippling negative feelings just faded away over the course of 2-3 weeks. It really, really helped a lot. Again, if you have anxiety, depression, or whatever kind of blue feeling, it is not an accident. Okay, you might have gone through some memories, and if you recall them and if you bring them up, it'll make perfect sense because, your body is really smart. Trust me on this, please. Your body, your brain are not dumb. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, there's a reason behind it. I'll share with you a very quick personal example. You see, when I was like 21 years old, I discovered that I was born with a C-section. Because the umbilical cord was choking my neck. And I didn't know this for a very, very long time. All I knew that all my life I was a restless kid. I was always kind of worrying and asking, what if this happens? What if that happens? I was kind of anxious. Now, I didn't know that was called anxious. That was all I knew. So that was my norm to me. I didn't even think that I was anxious. But now that I look back when I worked on this stuff and I now feel much more zen and I have a contrast, I'm like, yeah, I totally was anxious. I just didn't understand it. Now, my life, frankly, at some points I thought there's something wrong with me. I don't understand why I'm so restless, why I can't sit still, why I had a hard time meditating. But when I understood that this happened when I was born, it made perfect sense. Because whenever you go through a form of trauma, the nervous system in your body literally resets itself to a higher level. So if I almost died during birth, of course, now my body, now my nervous system is more hypervigilant and is looking out for danger, because it's all about survival first and foremost. So of course I was going through life constantly worrying what could go wrong, what could happen, what could threaten my survival, because literally since day one, that was the name of the game. I went through this traumatic event. Now, when I worked on this and I changed the memories of my birth to a calm, peaceful birth, suddenly this anxiety, this constant what if, this constant self-doubt just went away. So once you understand this, it can be very powerful. Now, you may be thinking, we can't change memories, or can we? Like I said, I'll give you the slides if you stick with me till the end so that you can do more research on this. But there's several reputable studies on this, even TED Talks, that prove, number one, by Elizabeth Lofus, that our memories are not set in stone and are not even accurate. How you save memories is always distorted, and then every time you recall it is not accurate. In the study, she's shown that a lady was raped, and then she misidentified the perpetrator. They locked up the wrong guy for like 10 years. And then later, via DNA testing, they figured that it was the wrong person, despite her being 100% confident it was that guy. So it proves to show us that our memory is not reliable, it's not accurate, and we can actually change it. Julia Shaw, this was one of my favorite ones. It's absolutely crazy because she did a crazy experiment. She took 100 people, and out of 100, 70, she convinced of a false memory. She made up a completely fake, made-up memory of them getting into an alteration with the police. And over a course of a few sessions, she literally made them believe that memory, so the next time they would come, they would start talking about this memory as if it was their own. So that makes me think myself how our memories affect our identity and how malleable they really are, because they can be changed, and it's not that hard. There's another study at a university where Stephen Shu showed how with a laser, they could change the memories of mice and how they could associate pain to a location and how they could make them fearless. So it was just very, very interesting to see that there's actually more material on this subject than you and I would think. Now, another big common question I get, well, okay, Peter, I think I get it. It makes sense. But there's this big question on my mind. What if I can't remember the memory? What if I can't identify it? And I've heard this a lot of times. And usually when people say they can't remember, what they really mean is they can't see the pictures. They can't see the mental movie. They can't remember the visual aspect. Just like me, when I was working on my birth memory, like, of course, when I was in the womb, I didn't have pictures or memories. But as I brought it up and I started thinking about it, there was a very interesting kinesthetic feeling. Kinesthetic means bodily feeling. I started to feel this almost choking, this tension sensation around my neck. Now, when I started working on that, things start to shift. So it's important to understand that a memory is one or more of these 5 things. A visual picture movie is just one of them. And if you don't have a visual recall, then you may have a bodily sensation. You may have a sound that you hear. And gustatory, olfactory, gustatory is taste, olfactory is smell. So there may be a specific smell that comes up. And the most interesting thing, once you start working on one of these aspects, let's say the bodily feeling, oftentimes the unconscious brings in the auditory aspect or the visual aspect so that you can work on those too. And if you change those, you actually finally fix the problem for good. So if you can't remember or identify the memory, it's nothing to worry about. You can, chances are, get a bodily feeling or something else to start working on, and then you can eventually bring back the memory. Even if you don't get a visual picture, if you just work on these right here, it still is more than enough to get you to change, because not every memory has a visual aspect. Now, of course, let's not be delirious here, right? We can't time travel and change the past. Let's not kid ourselves. But we can change how we encoded the past in our unconscious minds, and that can and that will change our present and the future. So the only way, to secret number 2, to permanently and quickly reprogram your unconscious mind is to change your memories, period. Yes, you can do affirmations. Yes, you can do, changing limiting beliefs and all these different things. But please understand, if you really want to get a permanent big change, The only way to do it is to actually go to the root cause, not the symptom, and that is to change the memory. And nobody talks about this. And this is why 99% of people out there struggle to manifest what they want, because consciously they may desire a thing, but then unconsciously there's 95% of themselves that says that's not who I am, that's not safe, nobody in my family makes that much money or is that healthy. So it consciously doesn't matter what you think, because it's maybe only 5% responsible for your results. 95% of your power is in your unconscious mind. So the unconscious is going to win every single time, unless you align the unconscious with the conscious, unless you rewrite your past so it aligns with your desired future. This is a big one. I hope you're taking notes on this. How do you guys like it so far? Does it make sense? Just let me know in the chat. Perfect. Let me take a sip of my water while you guys reply. Perfect. Glad you guys like it so far. So let's move on. Secret number 3, how to manifest more in 30 days than you normally do in 3 years. I want to share one final quick story. This was actually when I was reading Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Yourself, and I recommend you pick it up if you haven't already. But essentially in this book, he was talking about something called brain waves. And he explained that we have several different brain waves that we go through day to day, right? He explained that first there's delta, which is really your deep sleep. Then there's theta, which you can access in light sleep when you're dreaming or in a deep meditation. Then there's alpha, which you may be in alpha right now. It's kind of like a relaxed, calm consciousness when you study something. Or you may be in beta, which is generally speaking where most adults live most of the day. It's kind of awake, normal, alert consciousness, maybe mildly stressed, fight or flight. And then gamma is a super focused mind, but we're not going to cover that because it's very, very rare. We're going to talk about these 4 right here. Now, when he shared this, it was very interesting, but what he shared next was even more interesting. He said that children, especially 0 to 7 years old, actually mostly operate in delta, then theta, then alpha. And after 7 years old, they start to be kind of like adults and start mostly operating in beta. Now, he explained that this is why kids, especially when they're super young, it almost seems like they merge reality with their imagination. They're very creative. They envision themselves to be superheroes, etc. That's because they're operating on a deep brainwave level of delta theta. That's where your unconscious mind is pretty much awake. That's when you can communicate with your unconscious minds. Then, this is also why kids can learn 3 languages very quickly, very easily, versus an adult can learn a language for years, but they can never seem to do it when they're older at 40, 50. It's because in these brain waves, your brain is very easily suggestible, right? It's very easy to learn and bring in new beliefs, new concepts in these deeper states of consciousness. This is why kids, and think about it, it's designed this way. As kids, when we're born, we need to learn how the world works, who we are, how we fit in within the world. And that's really where our identity and most of our beliefs are created, like 80-90% of them. So actually what this means is most of your programming, most of who you are, your identity, or the key memories are actually created when you're 0 to 7 years old. So I had an idea when I read this book. So an average human being has hundreds of thousands of memories. So to rewrite them all would take forever. But what if I could just rewrite my childhood? Because after all, this is where like 80-90% of my results are coming from. This is where, that's where most of the programming is done. That's where our identity is first shaped, our worldview, and the biggest core beliefs are formed, right? So when I changed my childhood specifically, I experienced the biggest changes so far. I thought getting to 10,000 a month or 50,000 a month was big. But when I finally worked on my childhood, I had the biggest transformations by far. I scaled my business to over $164,000 a month. I managed to get featured on national news, write a #1 best-selling book, get an Entrepreneur Forbes Inc. My relationship with parents got significantly better. All the unresolved, kind of issues around my dad got away, and life just got so much better. Scaled my agency to $1.2 million per year, and even got invited to the 2 Comma Club. So you can see my name there. And I just processed over $1 million through this one company. So they got me into this club, which was such an honor and privilege. And then I got to travel the world. This is me and her, my love of my life. That's in Italy. This is the famous Trevi Fountain. This is in Japan. This is in LA at a City Gala. That's the charitable event I invested in. Cinque Terre, Italy, New York. Gosh, Paris. We spent like a month in Paris. It was gorgeous. I was doing some painting stuff. I'm not a big painter. Notre Dame. I think this is either in Florida or LA. Disney, we're a pretty big fan. That's me speaking in New York. That's in Vienna. Hungary, Japan. More Japan, and Owl Cafe is amazing. And Tenerife. That was actually Bangkok and Thailand. Chili Cafe, highly recommended. So why I'm sharing this with you is not to brag, but ultimately what I got, more important than the money, is I manifested and I created a life I love. Even though I was destined, like I said, for average, I was destined to make $2-3 an hour, $500 a month, just like any other person here in Slovakia. Yet, by understanding these principles that you can change your identity, and the key for you to manifest like attracts like is to become a version of yourself who has those things. And then how you really do it is by changing your memories, and how you speed it up is by just working on your childhood. When I understood this and I did this, I created amazing results in my life, traveled the world, and I can confidently say that I love my life. And because I got these things, I really truly wanted to share it with other people. Because at one point, you make more money, you make a certain amount of money, it no longer becomes fulfilling. Like the financial issues were gone. I paid off my parents' debt. At some point, I needed something more to want to continue. So I really wanted to pay it forward, give it back, because I think this is by far the greatest gift you can give to someone. It is a life they love. So I started experimenting with my students and sharing how you can change memories, or specifically the childhood. And the results were breathtaking. But notice I said not surprising, because I was expecting these things to happen. I've done them on myself. I've used it on some of my closest friends and family and people around me. So I was expecting this to work. So I was not too surprised when people completely changed their life. Michael Dia, AJ Mirzad. Michael, when he implemented this, so he combined the business stuff with a lot of these principles, he turned $4,000 into $48,000. It was massive. AJ Mirzad, very good friend of mine, multimillionaire. With these principles, he was able to scale his business to over $2 million a year. He's got a 10-bedroom mansion in New York. Just an amazing guy. I spent a bunch of time at his place as well, and he's just living the dream. And if you were to ask these guys, of course, they put in the work, but they are big believers in these quantum laws, changing memories, and doing this type of work, working on your identity. And they'll tell you themselves that it would not have been possible unless the identity was changed by rewriting their past, period. Joe, another example, and some of these I'll keep semi-private, because of course they're talking about deep stuff. But prime example, Joe, he was diagnosed with stage 2 adrenal fatigue shortly after I got fired from my corporate job. I'm so grateful I found the source hacking community. I've been religiously practicing the meditation, the releasing technique, which is changing memories. My doctor just told me my cortisol is back to normal. I do feel much more calm, at ease through the day. Finally, something that works. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, finally, something that works. A lot of people go through many different books, courses, but again, it may work a tiny little bit, but more often than not, it either doesn't work at all or it bounces right back to normal, because they work on the surface level. They do affirmations, they do hypnosis, they do whatever it is that they do. But unless they go to the very root cause, which is changing the memories and ultimately changing their identity, it doesn't work, and it's not going to stay there. It's not going to stick. Again, typical question, what if I can't remember my childhood? Same thing. You may not have visual recall, but it doesn't mean you can't recall a sound or a bodily feeling if you just focus on it. Plus, there's 3 questions that I cover in another training. I mean, there's only so much time we have here, but there's 3 specific questions you can ask yourself that elicit the memory. As a matter of fact, let me just cover it. I just want to give you plenty of value. The 3 questions is, how do I know I have a problem? Number two, what's the emotion that I feel? And then what's the root cause memory behind that? And I'll cover this more, like I said, in another training. But those three questions can really help you elicit the memory that created the problem in the first place. So how you really manifest more in 30 days than you do in 3 years is by rewriting your childhood, because this is going to give you the most amount of results in the least amount of time. Again, that's where like 80% of your programming was done. So if you just work on your childhood, you get most of the work done very quickly. So stick with me just a little longer, because like I said, I'll be giving away the PowerPoint keynote slides to download. So let's do a quick recap. Let me take a sip of water as well. So we covered that the real secret behind the secret is that you don't actually attract what you want. You attract more of who you are. So the only way for you to get what you want is to consciously design a version of you who already has what you want, who already is happy, healthy, wealthy. And only then will the universe, God, grace, whatever you want believe in, or however you call it, will move mountains for you for these things to actually happen in reality. Number two, the only way to permanently, quickly reprogram your unconscious mind and really to change your identity is to rewrite your past so that it aligns with your desired future. Very simple. What that means is if you want to have a happier, healthier, wealthier future, go back to your past, especially childhood, and rewrite it so you've always been healthy, wealthy, happy, because you become more of who you are. It's very simple. And we do this by changing our memories. And how you can manifest more in 30 days than you normally do in 3 years is by working on especially your childhood first, because that gets you 80% of the way. This lets you manifest consistently, predictably, reliably, and you'll never have to rely on hope or believing. Again, that's what most gurus tell you to do. Oh, you didn't manifest what you wanted. You didn't believe hard enough. But again, how are you supposed to believe when you look in your bank account and you see a big zero or whatever the number is? Or you look in the mirror and you don't have the six-pack abs yet. Believing is a flawed strategy. When you rewrite your past and you change your identity, believing is not even in the equation. You don't have to believe anything. And these changes come almost naturally, like you almost expect them, because that's who you are. It doesn't seem like something out of the ordinary happened because you've always been healthy, wealthy, happy if you rewrite your past. Guys, this is the only way that can really get you these results by far. I've tried a lot of different things. I've read many books. I'm telling you, the only way, if you want permanent results and want them fast and on demand and want this to finally work, you got to go to the root cause, to the source of the problem, and fix that. Just like when you have a tree, and I know this is a poor tree, if you want the tree to fall down, what do? Let me know in the chat. What do you do? If you want the tree to be gone, what do? Do you start cutting the branches or the leaves? It's going to grow out again. You take out the roots. And that is the only way you finally get rid of the problem. That's what we teach her. We finally go to the source. So let me ask you, can you do this? Can you see yourself doing this? If you crafted an upgraded version of you who already has what you want, like we covered in secret number 1, then you'd become that version of you by changing your memory so it's in alignment with your desired future, like we covered in secret number 2. And most importantly, you'd rewrite your childhood in the first 30 days. That's totally doable, and it's responsible for over 80% of the results you're getting right now in life, like we covered in secret number 3. If you follow this proven path, do you think you could be successful? And not just successful, but deeply fulfilled? Let me know in the chat. Just give me a little yes in the chat. Like I said, I can still see the answers you're putting in the questions. I'll get to the questions at the end of it, and Aaron is trying his best to reply to all of you guys. But there's a couple hundred of you on this call, so of course we'll do our absolute best. But let me know, and I mean this, like a lot of people may achieve financial wealth, but then they feel miserable. And that is because there's still that conflict. They still achieve that financial wealth out of a place of pain and lack and wanting to prove something, wanting to prove people wrong. And again, that's just going to create more of the bad stuff. So until you rewrite your past, that you were always healthy, wealthy, happy, you're not really going to be successful and fulfilled. And I want both, because I've made money, but until I did these elements, the changing the memories, especially childhood, it was money, but without the fulfillment, without the purpose. And now I've got both. And I can tell you, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, because you get what you wanted, but then you say to yourself, is there all there is? It's not fulfilling. You're not really truly happy. But I'm saying you can have both. So do you think you could do this to get both, be extremely successful, have the results, but then also be fulfilled and genuinely happy with where you're in life and where you're headed? That's what I call a life that you love, where you have both the external results and the internal happiness. So I see a bunch of yeses. I love you guys. This is amazing. And I see a lot of you guys are committed to do this. So let me ask you a question. Do you feel a little bit like this? Just a little overwhelmed? I mean, I try to cover a lot of good stuff. It took me like a decade to learn all of this, fine tune it, and get really good at it and master it. So if you're a little overwhelmed, I get it. And yes, a bunch of yeses, a little overwhelmed, a lot of good stuff. Thanks, Peter. And I appreciate that. But of course, there's only so much I can cover in like a 60, 90-minute presentation. So I have a quick question for you. Would you be okay if I spend maybe 10, 15 minutes going through a special offer that I created just for you guys who actually signed up, showed up live, that can help you implement all of this good stuff in the next 30 days? Because I don't have to share this if you don't want, but if I get your permission, I'd be happy to go over it to see if it can help you in any way, shape, or form. Perfect. So introducing the Source Hacker System. Now, what is this? Well, it's a 30-day online implementation program that covers everything you need to know on how to craft and change your identity, how to rewrite your past so that you can finally manifest anything you want fast, on demand, with consistency, predictability, without having to believe that it works. You can log in to access the content anytime you like from anywhere in the world, and you get lifetime access and a lifetime worth of free updates. Now, what you're going to learn in a nutshell is, number one, how to design an upgraded version of you. There's specifically 16 building blocks. I mean, we're going to go deep, like every single detail. What's your self-image? What do you think about yourself? How you carry yourself? How you interact with people? What's your financial set point? What's your weight set point? What's your daily average mood? We're going to cover every single detail of this new character that you're going to design, who already has blank, blank, and blank, whatever that is for you, who already has found his or her soulmate, who already is making 6, 7, 8 figures, who already is happy, healthy, wealthy. And then we're going to cover how you can exactly find, identify, and rewrite your memories so your past aligns with your desired future and new identity, so that you can finally end self-sabotage for good and finally manifest what you want fast. By the end of the 30 days, you'll have your entire childhood rewritten, and you're going to start seeing big results in health, wealth, love, and happiness, and really whatever it is that you want to focus on. By the end of those 30 days, you'll also become a source hacker. That's what we call someone who has mastered these quantum laws and uses them to create a life he or she loves, plus helps other people do the same. Because once you get this amazing gift, the greatest thing that you can do that gives you the most fulfillment is to share this gift with other people, like I'm doing right now. Here's an example. I asked a bunch of people what they liked about it the most. She says, the biggest thing, I feel like I'm in control of my life. Every day I wake up with gratitude, excited to start the day, even though a few months back I was so depressed I could barely get out of bed. That's just one thing, but this alone made the investment so worth it. This is one of the greatest things. I mean, you can obviously have the external results, the nice house, the nice car, the travel, the money. But I think one of the most valuable things is just waking up with a smile on your face, feeling grateful to be alive. And it is 100% doable. If you're not feeling that way, I guarantee there's a very good reason why not. And once you find the memories, identify them, it'll make perfect sense. And once you rewrite those memories, then you can finally trade anxiety, depression, feeling bad for the exact opposite. Another lady, I'm finally debt-free. The QCF really works. It's the quantum creation formula. It's something we teach inside the course. Another gentleman right here, I always struggled with automatic negative thoughts, but since I did the releasing process and when I was bullied, it's gone now. And I can relate with him because I was bullied too. And when I worked on that, it definitely made me kind of like a more peaceful, calm person. He says it almost feels weird, like where's my anxiety? What's the interesting thing is I can remember when I was bullied back in high school, but I feel neutral, like I don't really care. I've done all sorts of therapies over the last 20 years, but nothing has quite worked like this. Thank you, Peter. And this is what I want to elaborate on. It's beautiful because, when you do this type of work, it's not like an overnight fireworks show. It's not like a big breakthrough. It's like you do the work, you go about your life, and then a week or two later, you look back, and in hindsight, you think to yourself, where's the anxiety? Where's the depression? It just kind of vanished. It disappeared. It's because it's such a subtle change, and it feels so natural because, again, you change your identity, you change your past, and you've always been this way. So it's not going to seem like something new or different or weird because that's who you've been all the time. You're just going to look back and notice, wow, okay, these last few weeks I've been eating much, much healthier, and that cheesecake has not been attracting me anymore. Last few days I've been finding money on the streets. All these synchronicities are happening. I've been very motivated and inspired to take action in my business or in my job. I just got a raise. That's interesting. It's just going to feel so natural, and that's what the beautiful part about this work is. And then there's a bunch of other people who got great results. I already mentioned Mike right over here. Alan Martin made 45 grand in 3 weeks. Matthew Simmons, 65,000 in 8 weeks, and then a bunch of other people. Xander scaled to 1,000 a day profit with this work. Bria right here. I went through 2 painful divorces. I felt unlovable, and truth be told, I didn't like myself. I was skeptical at first, but I decided to work on not feeling good enough, and guess what? I got a date scheduled for next week. Wow, that's super cool. Finally, after 5 years of being single after a horrendous marriage, I feel like I can try again, and it feels easy, it feels natural. That's what I was talking about right there. I feel like I'm starting to love myself again. Peter, week 2 has been incredible. So far has been life-changing to say the least. And a lot of people say that about week 2 because it's specifically about changing the memories. Isabel, combining Lose Haze, Heal Yourself work with changing memories has been nothing short of incredible so far. I realized my acne and other health problems were caused by feeling inadequate, insecure, and since I flipped those memories behind those emotions, my skin has been clearing up. 2 workers just commented on my vibrant, clear skin the other day. I've had acne for 30 years. And in a few weeks, cleared almost all of it. My mood seems lighter, 2 more easygoing. I love the training you put together. This is very common. Louise Hay's books, and there's a couple others as well, In a Seagull, etc., kind of show you the emotional root cause behind a physical symptom, like acne or whatever else it is, right? Because really, a physical symptom and disease is nothing more than your body screaming at you, your body trying to communicate that there's something traumatic, something bad that happened in the past, and you still haven't dealt with it. It's still bothering you. So acne is a prime example. It does have to do something with feeling not good enough, insecure, not liking, the person in the mirror. So when you change the memories that created that belief, that habit in the first place, boom, the symptom goes away. And with that, the emotion goes away too. You start feeling better about yourself. You stop judging yourself. And it's the same person in the mirror, but you don't hate yourself anymore. And matter of fact, you start to look at yourself differently, and you start to find yourself more attractive, more beautiful. So it's a really cool process. So you may be asking, well, who this works for? It works for employers, entrepreneurs, or people that want to be entrepreneurs. It works for employees too. Look, we're the same human beings, and you can have a business or you don't have to. It still works for both people perfectly fine. Really for anyone who wants to create more health, wealth, love, and happiness, and let go of self-doubt, limiting beliefs, self-destructing beliefs and habits, really anything that no longer serves you. And anybody who wants to manifest a life you love and do so fast and do so without this belief puzzle. So you don't have to hope or cross your fingers that it works, because it really truly does. As long as you do the work, you implement these principles, it works literally every single time. So here's what you're getting. You're going to get the Source Hacker Masterclass, which is a total value of $2,997. Well, but, crafting a new identity, changing a bunch of memories, well, isn't this going to take a bit of time, work, and effort? And yes, you'll have to put in some work. You can't just watch the training and expect everything for everything to happen. You'll have to actually take action. But it's not as much work as you think, because we 80-20 it. You might have heard of the 80-20 principle. It says that 20% of what you do is responsible for 80% of your results, and then 80% of what you do is responsible for 20% of the results. This is how you see in the world too, like the wealth distribution is not equal. 20% of the population has like 80% of the world's wealth, and vice versa. So by working on the childhood, you're working on the 20% that's responsible for 80% of the results. So this way you can speed it up. Plus, If you own an iPhone or an Android, this app that I'm going to give you for free will do 99% of the heavy lifting for you in autopilot, because you'll be able to change your memory, and then you'll be able to record it with your own voice, listen to it. And as you do that, you'll be constantly reprogramming your unconscious mind, even during sleep. So you can do 8 hours worth of programming a day with the most powerful tool and technique in the world, and it's going to be done for you. So what you're going to get is not only the masterclass, but also the iPhone app or Android app that programs you in autopilot for a total value of $3,994. Now, I told you about the 2.0 version I created, right? And it took me literally nearly a decade and $300,000 invested in mentors and masterminds and courses and books, you name it, to develop and fine-tune this process I call human engineering. The reason it's called human engineering is you're literally engineering, you're literally designing a new version of yourself in each and every detail, right? So when you invest today, I'm going to throw this in here as a bonus. It's yours free of charge. So not only you get the masterclass, you get the phone app, and you get the human engineering process to craft the 2.0 version of yourself free of charge as a bonus. So total value is $4,491. Now, on top of that, I'll throw in the memory flip technique as a free bonus as well. That's the technique that covers the questions so that you can identify the memories, how to find them, even if you don't have visual recall. Again, that's not an issue at all. And now you can go back and change a memory very quickly. And you can go back to you can say very traumatic memory, even sexual abuse, something really terrible, and you can change it in 30 minutes. You can have smaller memories, some smaller things happening. You can completely change your memory in 2 to 5 minutes. Stuff that has created so much turmoil and problems in your life, you can get rid of it within minutes. It's fast, it's quick. And on the left, you see me actually getting a brain scan for $4,000 because I'm very passionate about this stuff. And I went deep into this. So I wanted to understand from not just the quantum principles, the spiritual principles, but also how the brain works on a physical level, neurochemistry. So I'll be teaching you more stuff about the brain. And like I said, the scan cost me $4,000. So I'll be sharing that with you as well, free of charge. It's a free bonus if you invest today. Apologies, this bottle is a little making crinkling noises. So what you're going to get, to recap, is the masterclass, is the app, is the human engineering process, and the memory flip technique to rewrite your past and get rid of all of the limitations, self-sabotage. It's a total value of $4,988. And then, a lot of people reach out to me and they say, okay, Peter, I need more money. I'm in this situation or that situation. And trust me, I've been there too. My parents never made more than $2-3 an hour. It took me months to make my first dollar, and the first few years were pathetic. I was laughed at, I was embarrassed. So I know how you feel if you need more money, or you may have money struggles. Or some people say, look, I just really need to get in shape. I have this health ailment. I want to lose some weight. Or some people just, come to me and say, I really just want to find the love. I've got all these other things, but I would love to find this one man or one woman. Or some people say, this crippling anxiety or depression I have is making life miserable. I could give anything to get rid of it. So I wanted to make sure I include specifically a bundle of processes, one process for each of these 4 concerns that solves it. So if you have money issues and you're afraid to invest or whatever the case is, there's a money miracle process that helps you get more money ASAP. So it's no longer an issue. But the soulmate process, the health upgrade process, if you want to get in shape or work on your health, and then the peace of mind process. So we make sure no stone is left unturned. And if you want to zoom in and double down on one specific area of your life, whether that's health, wealth, love, or happiness, we make sure that you're covered. And that's included for free as a bonus if you invest today. So there's the bundle of processes, like I said, the money miracle process, soulmate process, health upgrade process, and the peace of mind process, which adds up to a total value of $5,485. On top of that, you're going to get lifetime access to my private mastermind group on Facebook so you can connect with millionaires and people who love their lives. There's a bunch of millionaires there. There's a friend of mine who does $5 million a month. There's mentors of mine here. And this is really priceless because you probably heard the quote, even if you haven't, it's a very powerful one, that you become the average of the 5 people closest to you. Again, it's that tribe mentality. Again, you probably noticed this. People that are overweight tend to be around overweight people or have overweight parents. People that are broke tend to be around other people that are broke, right? Or come from that background. So one of the fastest ways for you to upgrade your health, wealth, happiness is to start being around other healthy, wealthy, happy people, because it rubs off on you, not just on like the energetical level, right, on the quantum field, but also there's been scientific studies that prove that we have these neurons in our brain called mirror neurons, and when we hang around these people, our brains literally sync up. You start to think like they think, and you become like them. So again, this is absolutely priceless, and you get lifetime access to this group that is filled with healthy, happy, successful, fulfilled people, and you can become just like them. On top of that, we're going to do weekly Q&As with myself and my team of coaches to make sure all your questions are answered. If you need help finding a memory or changing a memory or anything that comes up, we'll be here to help you live. Now, I charge over $1,000 for an hour of my time, but I'm throwing in an hour, maybe 2 hours per week, every single week for the rest of my life, because this is lifetime access as well, free of charge. So if I did the math, there's like 56 weeks in a year. So this is at least a $56,000 value if I look at my hourly rate. And if we do 2 hours a week, well, it's $112,000. Now, I'm going to include that as free of charge because I know a lot of people are just one question away, or they just need help with this one specific memory, whatever the case may be. So I'll make sure I include it so you can ask me and my team questions. And this is really, truly priceless value right here. So a quick recap, what you're getting is the masterclass, the app, the human engineering process, the releasing technique, also known as the memory flip, the bundle of processes, lifetime access to the members only mastermind. This is what Napoleon Hill talked about, Think and Grow Rich. Very, very powerful thing, absolutely priceless. This alone could easily be like $10,000, but I just put priceless. And access to the weekly Q&A calls with me and my team. Again, easily another $10,000 minimum value, but I just put priceless. So if I add it up like this, we're looking at a total value of $5,485. Now, let me ask you a question, and you tell me. You can tell me in the chat box. I'll be watching it. If all this did was to show you a proven way to manifest your heart's desires consistently, predictably, without having to hope, cross your fingers, or believe it works, would it be worth it? You tell me. If all this did was just help you finally eliminate the self-sabotage, the doubt, the negative thinking, the unconscious conflict by showing you how to change your memories so you can get rid of all these problems, would it be worth it? Perfect, got it. And if all this did was just show you how to manifest the big stuff, because I realize some people here, may be able to manifest the small stuff, the green lights, the parking spaces, whatever. But what about the big stuff, the stuff that really matters, like an extra $50,000, $100,000 a year, or the soulmate, or healing a disease, whatever that is? Would that be worth it? You tell me. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I see a bunch of yeses. Great. So I had two choices when it came to pricing this one-time special offer. I could either make this very cheap so that everybody could access this material, or I could charge a bit more and provide way more value, way more support, and really personally ensure with my team of coaches that everybody who gets in succeeds, guaranteed. So I had these two choices, and because I care about results so much, I went with the second choice. Now let me ask you, how much would the end result be worth to you? What if you could use this to create financial freedom, or maybe just passive income that can match the income in your job? What if you found the one, the man or the woman of your dreams? How much would that be worth to you? I know some of these things, it's hard to kind of put a dollar value on, but even an emotional type of happiness, how much that be worth to you? What if this would let you travel the world, kind of like I have, 20 plus countries in just a couple of years? I absolutely love it. It's one of my passions, and I just feel so blessed to be able to do this. And it's really an amazing gift that I want to share with you. Or if you could let go of the self-sabotage, if you've been trying to quit smoking or quit drinking or lose weight, make more money, if you could just get rid of the self-sabotage, the little voice in you that makes you do the thing you're not supposed to, how much would that be worth to you? These addiction centers make tens of thousands of dollars trying to provide that answer, yet statistically speaking, like 5% of people succeed. Again, because they try to change behavior, not the root cause, which are the memories. What if this could end anxiety, doubt, depression, whatever that is? or no more fill in the blanks. I mean, you tell me. There's different people on this webinar and different chapters of their life. There's no right or wrong answers here. What is it that you want? Because every problem that you have, everything you want to get rid of, can be traced back to one or more memories. And if you change those memories, you rewrite them, you can get rid of the problem and you can replace it with a gift. Get this. I mean, this is such an important message. Some of the worst things that have happened to you, abuse, bullying, whatever it is, some of the worst things, the most humiliating things, can turn into your greatest gifts once you understand this and once you do this work. And then you can share those gifts with other people. I think there's no greater thing than this out there. And you can probably see why people pay me $3,000 when I sell this package on stage for a similar result. Because it's really not a cost. It's not an expense. It's an investment in the most important person in your life, which is you. Same thing they say on airplanes. Put this, seatbelt on you first, or the oxygen mask, then on your child, then on your parent. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you supposed to take care of other people? If you don't have plenty, how are you supposed to give to other people? So this investment is in the by far the most important person on planet Earth, which is you. And in this person right here, you can impact the people around you, your kids, your parents, your friends, your community, the world. If you want to give back and you want to impact these people on a large scale, like it is my mission and purpose in life, I mean, really where I want to take this is I want to share this with 1 billion people and change 1 billion lives. And it starts right here. But it first had to start with me, for me to upgrade my life, for me to create a life I love so I could share that love with others. And that's when that's where I want you to be too. So you're living a life you love. It's beyond your wildest dreams and imagination. And now you're sharing this with other people. So you've already seen why it's a good deal at $5,485 and even at $3,000, which I charge to the public when I speak on stage. It's a great deal. However, because you sit through this entire presentation, I know you're serious. So I'm going to make you a very special one-time offer live on this webinar, because when I sell on stage, one thing to be completely transparent, there is a 50-50 split between the presenter and the organizer. So I only get to keep $1,500 of it. And then plus there's other expenses such as hotel and flights. So number one, because you're committed. And number two, because I don't have to deal with any of that extra expense, I'm going to make you a very special deal. So you can get started today for 3 payments of $199. These are monthly payments, or 1 payment of $497, which saves you an extra $100. So if you want to get started, on the right-hand side, right over here, there should be something like this that pops up. So you just want to click the button and it'll take you to the enrollment page that you can get started, or you can head over to this website. So just open a different browser, like a new tab, and just type in my name, petersabo.co/now, and it'll take you to the special offer page where you can get started today. If you're in the US, there's also PayPal credit. Now you're subject to credit approval. It takes like a couple seconds. And if you qualify for this, unfortunately, it's not for everyone. It's not, PayPal is offering this. It's not through me, unfortunately. If I could do this for everyone, I would. But like I said, if you're in the US, then you may be able to get this for 6 monthly payments of $82 with no interest. So that's another way to save a bit of money if money is tight. Now think about it. Like right now, if you went to my website, you could purchase the same package for the regular price of $3,000. But because you've invested time with me and you've proven that you really want these results, plus I don't have to pay for hotels, flights, and the 50%, I'm going to make you a very special one-time offer just for this webinar. Just to put it in perspective, it took me over 10 years to figure this out and over $300,000 invested into various courses, mentors, masterminds to figure this all out. Forget about the money. I made it back tenfold, but my time, I'll never ever get it back. So I'm also giving you a shortcut here. Just like Sylvia, she struggled for a very, very long time until she found someone who was getting the results that she wanted. And she paid me top dollar to learn from me because she knew it would be much, much faster. And at the end of the day, much, much cheaper than if she was trying to figure out everything by herself. So I encourage you to do the same thing. So now you have a chance to get my proven course and mentorship and phone app to do most of the work for you for only $500. And you can get all of this done in 30 days. So it doesn't have to take you 10 years and over $250,000 invested. If you do the payment plan, it's as low as $6.63 a day. That's the price of a coffee, an expensive Starbucks coffee indeed. But my question to you is, are you willing to exchange a month, 2, 3 months worth of Starbucks in exchange for a lifetime of health, wealth, love, happiness, and abundance? If you're just willing to give up your coffee or whatever expensive beverages, is your preference, then you can have a life you love. So now you have two choices. I mean, you can either go at it alone, make mistakes, progress via trial and error, and waste tons of money and years of your life till you master this, till you figure this out. Again, this path cost me years and $300,000. Another option, I'll call this number 2, you can do nothing and then nothing changes. And then number 3, so there's really 3 options to put it in perspective. You can learn the proven system from someone who's not just done it, but has helped hundreds of other people do it as well successfully. And you can get most of it done in 30 days or less. Plus, if you're a little bit skeptical, I wanted to throw in a 30-day money-back guarantee, because whenever I see webinars like this, of course, I'm a bit skeptical as well. Want to make sure it's legitimate. So here's the bottom line. If you go through this program and you actually implement it, you will see amazing results, period. But in case you're skeptical, I wanted to offer you a 30-day money-back guarantee so you can test drive the entire 30-day program. Okay, I hold nothing back. You get to try the whole thing, completely risk-free. Simply sign up for the program, watch the content, take action, and if you're not 100% satisfied for whatever reason, I'll just refund your money. And if you can show me you did the work and you still didn't get results, I'll PayPal you $100 out of my own pocket to apologize for wasting your time. I'm that confident in this program. It's really my life's work, and it's the most important stuff I ever thought beyond all the business tactics and strategies. Because without this part, the quantum laws, the psychology, the inner game, it would have never worked in the first place. So you get to try it completely risk-free. So the real question to ask yourself is it worth gambling just a few minutes of your time to check it out? I mean, even if it does only half of what I claim today, it'll easily pay for itself in 30 days or less. I mean, if money is your concern, which I know a lot of people, money can be an issue. I've been there, done that. Then there is the money miracle process, which in 30 days, if you just do it, I can pretty much guarantee that it'll create synchronicities, events that'll easily make your $500 back. But you have to do the process. Again, I want to make sure this is not like a book you buy and then it kind of stays on your shelf. This is something you have to do. And if you're willing to put in the work, I guarantee it's going to work. So the worst case scenario, I mean, you get a full refund and $100 from my PayPal as an apology for wasting your time. I mean, literally the worst case scenario is you waste a little bit of time, you get your money back, and I'll even send you $100, hopefully to compensate for the wasted time. You've literally got nothing to lose but everything to gain. And I think this is the greatest gift I can give you, more than just a way or a course to make money, more than just advice, a life you love, which is both things. Like I said, success and fulfillment. Have the external stuff. You can have the money, the house, the travel, whatever you want, but I also want to show you how to get that deep internal fulfillment, a life you love. It's the greatest gift I can give you. So what you're getting exactly is the masterclass, the phone app, human engineering, the releasing technique / memory flip, same thing, different name, the bundle of processes, lifetime access to the mastermind, lifetime access to the Q&A calls, essentially for a total value of $5,485. So just click the button right here, or you can always head to petersabo.co/now when you're ready to get started. Now, the first 10 people who actually take advantage of this amazing offer are also going to get these 3 bonuses. Number 1, my full 7-figure agency course. I get asked almost every day, Peter, how did you make your money? And again, I'm not a self-help guru originally. I actually made millions of dollars way before I put together a mindset or a manifestation self-help course. I made my money with my agency. And even with my clients or one-on-one clients or students that have bought into my 7-figure agency course, I've been teaching them principles of source hacking, changing memories, but I never put it into like one holistic system. And because a lot of people ask me, how did I make my money? How can I make money the same way? I'm actually going to include my full unrestricted, 7-figure agency course that used to retail for $1,997. Now, it's important to understand this is what it used to retail for. This is easily like a $10,000, $20,000 value, but that's what I used to sell it for. So if you enroll today, you're going to get this for free of charge. This alone is easily worth $2,000, but I'm going to throw it in for the first 10 people. Okay, not everybody's going to get it, only the first 10. So if you want to make sure you get this, head over to petersabo.co/now or click the button to join now. And this is that screenshot. Just one of the merchant accounts where I processed over $1.5 million, just for me. And my students and clients have combined made over $10 million. So stuff really works. For example, Roman signed up. He was a complete newbie, never did this before, never run an agency before. He just wanted to make some money and he wanted to fire his job. So literally in the first week of joining, I showed him how to get a first client and how to deliver great results without him having to do the work. So you can actually hire other people to do the work for like $100 a month. And then these guys pay him $1,000 a month plus a percentage of his ad spend. So he literally got a client within the first week. And then there's other people that have gone through the course. Andrew Argue, AJ Mirza, Kent Littlejohn, Mike Belev. I already brought up Mike. But these guys, like I said, AJ built $1 million business. Kent, I think last year they did 3.6 million, something like that. Worked with him as well. Andrew Argue, when this was written, he was at $400,000 a month. I think just a few months ago, he crossed $1 million a month. Like, these guys are killing it. And the reason they are killing it is because they took action on this. They recognized the great opportunity that is essentially risk-free, and they pulled the trigger. They did it. Then I'm going to give you the 8X meditation technology as a free bonus if you invest today. And essentially, you can get an hour's worth of meditation in just 7 to 8 minutes. That is not a typo. That is not a hyperbole. There's been studies done, and you're going to need stereo headphones for this. But essentially, when you do and use this technology, your brain very quickly automatically sinks into these deeper brain waves, alpha, theta, delta, like I talked about, and you get to access these deeper levels of consciousness much faster, much quicker. And that lets you create bigger changes and kind of just put your manifestation, quote unquote, on steroids. So this is very powerful. And then lastly, I'm going to give you a collection of the best biohacking tools I've used to get superhuman sleep, rapid fat loss, instant stress relief, and the deepest meditation I've ever done. Now, to be clear, I'm not shipping you these tools. I'm merely sharing a resource like what I've used, because I've probably spent over $10,000 trying different supplements and tools and technology and apps and you name it. And I'll just give you the best of the best. Some of it is free so that you can, get all these things accomplished. So just a quick recap, you're going to get the masterclass, the phone app, the human engineering, the memory flipping technique, the bundle of processes, the mastermind, the Q&A call, lifetime access. And for the first 10 people, you're going to get the agency course, the 8X meditation, and the collection of biohacks. It's the first 10 only, no exceptions, right? I want to be very clear on that because this alone right here is easily worth the admission of the course that I'm charging right now. So it's a total value of $8,476. And if you're ready to get started, then you can just click on the link to the right, or you can go to petersabo.co/now. Again, it's either one payment of $500, $497, or $199 3 times, one a month. So it's a very cheap investment in comparison to the value you're getting. So thank you for staying this long. At this point, if you want to grab the slides, you can go to this link, petersabo.co/slides, and you can pretty much download the slide deck so you can refer back to it. We're not ending the stream here. There's still going to be a Q&A. You can ask me questions. So I'll just leave this here for a moment. You can download the slides. I'll take a sip of my water, and we'll continue. Perfect. So let's keep moving. Again, the link is petersabo.co/slides. All right. So here's a big question I oftentimes get when I do this webinar live. And even right now, I see the chat. It's a bunch of people. Can I pay after I get results? And, I wanted to share a story with you to put it in perspective, because for a very long time, I used to have the same mindset. And I would reach out to several mentors and people out there that I knew were successful. And I'd ask them the same thing. Hey, can you teach me for free? If you're really that successful, if you're really that rich, why don't you teach me for free? And when I get results, I'll pay you double. That was my crazy offer. And then I would get a little disappointed because nobody took me up on that offer. At one point, I saw this guy posting on Facebook, very successful guy, multimillionaire, and he's sharing all this value free of charge. And I was like 17 back then, making, decent amount of money, like 10K a month or so. At that point, I was already working on my identity, and I was still figuring out the memory piece, right? So it still wasn't full circle. But essentially, I reached out to this guy hoping that he would take me under his wings. Now, what I meant by that, take me under his wings, to take me in as a client, like a coaching client, free of charge. And when I get him crazy results, I'll not only pay him, but he's going to have the biggest case study of all time. This 18, 19-year-old kid made $1 million, right? And that'll get him a lot of business. So I reach out to him on Facebook, and he invites me to jump on a phone call with him to discuss this, right? So fast forward to 40, 45 minutes, he's selling me his coaching program for $5,000 a month. And fast forward a few more minutes, I ended up buying, even though it was by far the scariest, biggest investment of my life. I remember telling him, look, if I don't make my money back in a month or two, I'll pretty much be broke. I can't do this no more. So it was a massive leap of faith. But needless to say, I did what I knew I had to do because I was so invested. If you've heard of Tony Robbins, he has a saying, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. Like if you really want to get an outcome, put yourself in a situation where it's impossible to fail, where you really have to do the work so you follow through, you get the result. And that's what I did with myself. So I paid attention, I did the work, I followed through, and fast forward a few months, my business completely changed, made a lot more money, changed my life. And then he explained to me, listen, Peter, I knew that you wanted my coaching for free, but check this out. I did these masterminds and I invited a bunch of my friends, family, free of charge. And then there also were people in the room that paid $10,000 to be there. Now, people that actually paid, 95% of them got results. Like they really changed their life, grew their business. Now, I want to ask you, what do you think? What percentage of people, how many people out of the people that went there for free got results and actually made a penny out of being there? Even though it was a $10,000 mastermind, the room was filled with millionaires. There's a guy worth $500 million. How many people do you think actually got any results who attended for free? Okay, 2, 1, 10, 0, 0, none, 0. The correct answer is 0. And the reason behind that is people who pay, they pay attention. People who pay are essentially making a financial decision that I'm going to make this work. People that get there for free, the moment the smallest obstacle comes up, they give up and they quit. They kind of dip their toes in the water, they dabble. And people that get results in life are never dabblers. So if you really want to get results, you need to financially commit, and it needs to be a significant enough investment for you to follow through. Like I told you, my first significant investment was $2,000 when I was like 15 or 16 years old. My parents never made $2,000 a month. They made $500-600. So I managed to scrape together $2,000 to invest in myself through that course, and it completely changed my life. So all I'm asking you to do is invest $500 into yourself. It's as cheap as it gets, but it's still a decent chunk of money for you to be committed. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time a $5, $20 book changed your life? And I don't mean, made you feel good or had this fuzzy feeling or learned something. But seriously, when did a book permanently, dramatically improve the quality of your life? For me, the answer is never. And I know for most people, 99% of people, it's never. Because when you buy a $5, $10, $20 book, it's very easy to feel good about it, but then just put it on the shelf and just let it sit there because you're not committed. Or maybe you read chapter 1, but that's why statistics say 90% of people never read more than chapter 1. Most people don't even open the book. Most people never finish the book, let alone apply the principles. So look, I've tried this before. I've tried to ask for free or $10, $20 investments. These never worked for me, never worked for anyone I know. The only way to change your life that I know of is to find a mentor, find someone who's getting the results you want to get them, who's getting the results that you want to get, and then pay them whatever money they ask so that you're financially committed, so that you listen, you're coachable, you put in the work so that you get the results. Look, are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to be coachable? Let me know in the chat. Because if you are, and you're willing to make this investment in yourself, then you can make it work. moving on. So if you're ready, if that resonates with you, if that makes sense, you can click this button right here on the right and get yourself enrolled, or you can just go to petersabo.co/now if you're ready. Now I want to talk about this too, because you see a Benji here at $100 bill that says I'm evil. And I want to talk about this for a moment because a lot of people have these preconceived beliefs, these notions about money. Money is good, money is bad, money is evil, it doesn't grow on trees. Again, how that happens is we go through life, we have these memories that create, let me do that M again, memories that create these beliefs. So if you believe money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are evil, or it's unfair to charge money for things, I invite you to consider that those are just beliefs that were made up. And maybe some of them are not necessarily true, because the reality is money is just money. It's just a tool. It's just a thing. And it's very useful because it helps us, do something better than the barter system. I mean, look, if you're hungry, then you go to the grocery store and you exchange money for a banana or an apple, whatever you want to eat. So is there anything evil about exchange of value? No. Right? If you're hungry, you're going to go to the grocery store, exchange your money for something. So same thing here. I'm giving you my, dare I say, valuable time, because I'm quite busy on the Q&A calls and the groups, and I put hundreds of hours into the course. So I'm trading my time, my insights, my things that I learned that cost me 10 years and $300,000 plus, and I'm teaching it to you for only $500. Same thing, it's a value exchange. I'm giving you something that can help you make way more than $500, create a better life, get better health, better love. And that's all that's going here. It's just value exchange, and there's nothing good or bad about it. It's neutral. And I think you can agree it's a great deal. And if you can make such a commitment in yourself, it's going to pay great dividends. And I promise you, you're not going to regret it. So we all have disposable income. If you haven't read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, I highly recommend it. But he says there's a big difference between rich and poor people. He says rich people, they look at their disposable income because, the money comes in each and every month. Now, the difference is, how do these people spend their money? The rich people invest, whether that's stocks or real estate. But I can tell you, and a lot of successful people can tell you, that the best return on investment, ROI, it's kind of like a business term, investment term, the best ROI, return on investment, comes from investing into you. It's not stocks, it's not real estate, it's not Bitcoin. The best return on investment comes from investing into you, and that's what successful, happy, rich people do. Poor people, what they do is they buy the next Nike sneaker. They spend $100 in a dinner. They spend money on things that don't make them money. They spend money on things that depreciate and lose value, right? So that's why I'm saying the daily coffee that you drink at Starbucks, if you're in the US, that's not going to give you a better quality of life or make you more money. Give up the coffee for a little bit so you can take your disposable income, put it in something that'll pay great dividends and change your life forever. And I promise you, you're not going to regret it. So if you're ready to get going, that's the link. Again, the money replenishes, right? There's the check that comes in each and every month from your job or business, or even if you don't have a job right now, the government still sends you money. So money comes back, even if this investment doesn't work out. I mean, first and foremost, you get your money back. But even if for whatever reason it didn't, if the internet disappears, the money's still going to come in. But bottom line, you're still protected by the money back guarantee. But your time, you're never going to get back. That's the biggest thing that bothers me. I wish I had access to such a system when I was starting out. I could have probably saved myself 8-9 years. You don't have to spend 10 years to figure all this out. It doesn't have to cost you $250,000+ to make this work. You can just pay someone a little bit of money who has figured it out, give you the proven system, copy and paste, you're good to go. So the bottom line is, you can either have results or excuses with regrets, not both. You have to make a choice. I invite you to break the habit and create a life you love today by making a smart decision and investing into yourself. And if that's something you're ready to do, then like I said, you can click this button right here or head over to petersabo.co/now. So I'll do one last recap. You're getting the masterclass, the iPhone app, Android app, human engineering, memory flip, the bundle of processes, the mastermind, the Q&A, lifetime access, first and only 7-figure agency, 8x meditation, collection of best biohacks, for a total value of $8,476. Now, I just got news from Aron. We already sold these out. And I do see a lot of people that they want the bonuses. Gosh. So let me do this. We already sold out more than 10. The bonuses are gone. But I'm going to make an exception here. I'll take a note. Aaron is obviously listening in as well. We're going to make this first 20. The first 20 people that buy it are also going to get the bonus. Free of charge, just like the first 10, but we'll cap it at 20. Aaron, so please make a mental note. So if you're within the next 10 people, you're still going to get it. But like I said, I already made an exception here. Well, this is the first exception I'm making right now. So we'll let in 10 people more if you still want to get the bonuses. Frankly, these are really worth it. So if you want to make sure you get it, it's time to sign up right now. You can do that by clicking the button or going to the website. So let me do a live Q&A right here at the end. Like I said, you can ask questions over there. I've been seeing your questions come in, so I'll do my best to answer most of them. So let's do the final recap, and I'll be pretty much answering the questions right here on this page. So the timer started. There's roughly 30 minutes left. When it hits 0, the stream's going to end. And yeah, like I said, here's pretty much everything that's going on. I'll cross that out because now there's 20. So let me try to 20 left. And yeah, like I said, if you want to get started, you know the link, you know which button to click. It's either one payment of $497 or 3 payments of $199. And your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. It's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you get to try the whole thing. If you like it, great. It'll change your life. If you don't like it, you'll just get your money back. Prove me you did the work. I'll even send you an extra $100. No big deal. So let me go through some of these questions. So, Cynthia, what if I can't remember a memory? So, very, very typical question. I used to ask myself that all the time again. There's 5 aspects to each memory. Visual is just one of them. There's kinesthetic, auditory, gustatory, olfactory, which is just smell and taste. So if you can't remember the visual, then you may remember another aspect, the bodily feeling, the sound or something someone said. You start working on that, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in here. And then, then you may get another memory that pops up, or it may be another sound, another bodily feeling, and you keep working on whatever pops up because your unconscious knows what to show you. Oftentimes, we don't even get the visual recall or the picture because it's not safe for us to see. So your unconscious mind is only going to put it in front of you when it knows you're ready to tackle this, right? Because some of these things we've gone through as human beings are quite bad and traumatic, right? So it's not going to bring up the memory unless you're ready to see it. And sometimes there's just no visual recall, and it's not an issue at all. Shelly, is this live? Yes, I'm reading your chat right now. It is live indeed. Ed, I can't seem to focus on what I want as my mind is, preoccupied with what I don't want or what could go wrong. Is this normal? Yes. Same thing. Nothing's wrong with you, Ed. And I can definitely feel you when you bring that up because that's exactly how I used to feel. I mentioned during this webinar, I used to be very restless, focus on what's wrong, what could go wrong, and I was preoccupied, same thing, with what I didn't want instead of focusing on what I do want. Now, it's not an accident. Nothing's wrong with you. You, chances are, went through some experiences where your brain learned that it's safe to look at what's wrong or what could go wrong to protect you. So it's a survival mechanism. You may want to focus on what's right or the gratitude or whatever it is, but to your brain, it's more important to survive than to feel grateful. So you're going to do everything in your power to think about what's wrong until you change the memories that created that condition, that problem in the first place. I hope that makes sense. Let's see another one. Anne, do I have to believe first in order to manifest? So look, if you follow most manifestation gurus, that's what they're going to tell you. And I honestly feel like that's just an easy out because at some level, they know what they talk about doesn't work. And most of these guys actually make their money by selling manifestation books and courses. Now, again, I do believe in charging for something that's really valuable because you need the customer, the client, to commit to actually do it and follow through with the information. You can have the best information in the world, but if you don't do anything with it, what's the point? You're not going to get anywhere. So I believe in charging for things, but the only issue is a lot of, what they're charged for, a lot of what they sell is how they made their money in the first place. So one of the biggest rules I always tell someone is, look, Learn from someone who's getting the results you want to get. If they built $1 million business, you want to build $1 million business, learn from them. If you want to travel the world, learn from them. If they seem like a calm, peaceful person who lives a life you love and that's what you want, learn from them. So the problem with a lot of these guys is they haven't actually made money in like an actual business. They only made money selling this information. So I'm not a big fan of that, you know, and every time I bought stuff from these guys or even watch these free YouTube videos, it's just completely flawed, that mentality that you should think about what you want and then forget about it and then believe you have it. I mean, how are you supposed to do it when reality contradicts it? And then the whole law of attraction literally states like attracts like. So you get more of who you are, not what you want. Wanting something almost presupposes that you don't have it. It's not who you are. That's whenever people do it that way, they never really get what they want. So I know it's kind of subtle in a way, but it is a distinction for sure. Like it's an important difference to understand because it really makes all the difference, right? Mike, well, what if it's not going to work for me? Again, it's normal to be skeptical. I'm the same way whenever I'm presented with an offer like this. Here's the bottom line. Just give it a shot. Just try it. If it doesn't work, we'll give you your money back. And the best thing about this is it's a whole 30-day money back guarantee. So you can try the whole thing. And if you don't like it, we'll just refund you. No big deal. Now, of course, the only thing I ask you is give it an honest shot because you actually have to try it. You actually have to do what I tell you to do within the training program. Otherwise, of course, it's not going to work. But look, as long as you're able and willing to give it a shot, do the work, it's going to work for you. And if it doesn't, we'll just refund your money. Veronica, what if I can't afford it? I have a hard time manifesting money. Look, I've been there, done that, so I feel your pain. But that's the bottom line. You have to make a form of decision where you commit that you're going to find a way to manifest money and you're going to master it. Again, most people don't manifest money because they dabble. They try a little thing here and they give up the moment the slightest hardship comes up. Look, what I'm going to be teaching you works, but it's kind of like riding a bike. Nobody is born and you put them on a bike and they're the best bike rider. It's something you have to do and you may fall and you may not have balance. It's something you get better at. So I'm teaching you a skill here. It's not only information on how the quantum physics work, how the mind works, and how to change memories, but it's a skill that you get to hone in and get better at. So that's why it's quintessential for you to be financially committed, emotionally committed in every way, shape, or form, because chances are the first time you may not do it right. So you're going to need help. You're going to have to do it again. You're going to have to ask us questions in the group. That's why, even though it's a massive time commitment for me, to commit to 1 or 2 hours a week every single week, which is like 1,000, 2,000 hours worth of my time based on what I charge, because I want to make sure I give you guys everything you need to succeed with this, right? So the bottom line is you have to commit, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. There's the money miracle process. I promise you, if you just implement that over the course of the next 30 days, you'll make your money back tenfold. Maybe not tenfold, but double, triple. If you really do it, you could easily tenfold it as well. I promise you it works, but put it this way, I think the best metaphor I can give you is you have to do the work. It's kind of like hiring a personal trainer. Imagine I'm your personal trainer. I'll give you the diet plan. I'll give you the workout plan. But if you expect me to do the push-ups and eat clean for you to get the six-pack, we have a problem here. It's a big problem. So the whole point here is I'll be here as your guide. I'll give you everything you need to know to get to the result that you said you wanted, but you have to put in the work. Sounds fair? If that sounds fair to you, and if you're willing to be coachable and put in the work and keep going until it works, then I'm 100% confident you're going to get results without a shadow of doubt. If we can reach that agreement, we're going to get you results. And if you're fine with that, if you're willing to commit to that, then just click the button, join right now, or just head over to petersabo.co/now. Now, don't worry, if not every single question of yours is answered, just go ahead and get enrolled. I think there's like 2-3 spots left for the bonuses. So go ahead and get enrolled now in a new tab, and you can still listen in, me answer questions, stuff like that. So if your question hasn't been answered yet, don't worry about it. Just go get enrolled now, secure your spot, secure your seat, the bonuses, and all of that good stuff. and then we'll make sure we get back to your question in a little bit, right? Don't let that stop you from getting a good deal and from getting your bonuses. Judy, what if I feel unworthy, undeserving? What can I do about that? Is a great question. And a baby is not born feeling undeserving or unworthy. There's something that happened in your life that created that belief. And our job within the course and in the training program, the community, will be finding what is it that happened and how you can rewrite that so you no longer feel unworthy and undeserving. Matter of fact, you feel the exact opposite of worthy and deserving. And the moment you do that, life is going to get significantly better. Synchronicities are going to start showing up, and chances are your overall life quality will go up. Health, wealth, love, and happiness, everything included, because that is quite a big topic. If you just work on not feeling good enough, not feeling deserving, that can change a lot of things, and that's covered 100%. Let's see. Mary, I can't visualize how will this work for me. So it's a good question. Some people are more visual than others. Like, for example, me, I can visualize, but I don't see HD pictures like in real life, right? Some people are more kinesthetic, so they have more of a sense of knowing, more of a sense of feeling than actually seeing pictures, whether they're movies or just, static pictures. Some people are auditory, like some people just get to imagine what a person would say about them when they got the results. So if you're not a visual person, it's not an issue at all. You can still work on these other aspects, right? Plus, when we do the 8x meditation, it gets you into that deeper brainwave. And when you get into that alpha, theta, delta, some of the states that you dream in, you're going to notice visualization gets much, much easier. You also become less restless. It's very easy to sit or lay down meditating. You go very deep, and it's very easy to bring up these pictures or sounds or feelings. I just saw The Secret, Karen saying, so I'm new to the law of attraction. Will this still work for beginners? And the answer is yes. It works both for advanced people that have been, learning about this stuff, psychology, quantum physics, law of attraction, manifestation for years. And it also works for people that are brand new. Maybe you just saw The Secret, read the book, read another book, Joe Dispenza, whatever book, or a friend introduced you to it. It works 100%. Matter of fact, beginners are one of my favorite crowd because we're starting from scratch with a blank canvas. And you can just learn things the right way from the get-go, and you don't have to do a bunch of unlearning. People that have been doing this for a long time, it still works 100%, but there may be some limiting beliefs we need to break, some misunderstandings about the law of attraction. One of the big ones is, oh, you're supposed to forget about it and then just believe. It's utter BS. It's just not true. So we got to get rid of that and replace it with the truth. I mean, you tell me, everything I've talked about today, you tell me, it makes sense. It makes logical sense. It feels good. It just makes common sense. It's not based on a bunch of random stuff. I've actually done this. I've actually gotten results with this. I've taught this to hundreds of students who got results too. So this is proven, tried, and tested. It really does work. All you got to do is just put in the work. And if that's something you're willing to do, I recommend you jump in right now and get started. Nancy, how long do I have access to the course? Lifetime access. So, pretty much lifetime access for as long as I'm around. And you also get free updates because you see I constantly want to improve myself, my business. So things are going to evolve over time. It's going to get even better. Maybe we develop new apps and technologies. So if you enroll now, you're going to get all those updates free of charge. And, as we upgrade the course, the price is also going to upgrade with that as well. So next time when I'm going to release it, it's definitely going to be $997. I already got the price planned and the sales page put together. It's still a lot cheaper than the $3,000 I sell it from events. But like I said, if I don't have to give the 50% of the profits to the host, if I don't have to pay for, hotels and flights and whatnot, and it's plus also a bunch of travel and work just to get their time zone, I'm willing to give it a significant discount. Thus, you're getting for $500. But this price will definitely increase to at least $1,000, and then probably I'll maybe cap it at $2,000 when it comes to online. All right. So Aaron just notified me that we're out of bonuses once again. 20 got sold, but I still see there's like 160, 180 people of you. It keeps going up and down. Maybe some people are refreshing. And I don't know, maybe there's a delay as well. But look, there's still a bunch of you guys, and there's still vast majority of you that did not pull the trigger on this offer. And yeah, I can see the comments. Don't worry, like I won the bonus. Karen, yeah, not gonna buy without the bonus. Look, I already made an exception once, right? I already extended it to 20 people. I'll make one final exception. We'll definitely cap it at 30. But let's do this. I know the bonuses are pretty much worth the price on its own. And I know for the right person who actually takes action on this will make a significant difference. So let's do this. I'm going to cross that out and I'm going to bump it up by 10 more people. All right, the next 10 people, 30 max. I promise this is the last time I'm extending it. No more as the final exception. But if you're within the next 10 that take advantage of this offer, we're going to still get you the bonuses. And Aaron, just please take a mental note because some of these bonuses, because the system is designed for the first 10. So the next 20, if you don't immediately see the bonuses in your account, we need to add them manually. So don't worry about it. It'll be visible under week 4 on the left-hand side. So the first 30 will get in, but that's the last exception I'm making. So yeah, so if you want to take advantage of that, I really recommend you jump in right now because I'm not going to go to 31. It's just not happening. So it's $497 or 3 payments of $199. And you can either click the button on the right or go to petersabo.co/now to get started. It's just this link right over here, or you can click to the right. Let's see what else. Let me take a sip of my water and see what questions we have. Joe, will this help me create more money even if I don't have a business? Yes. Look, business is one way to make it happen, but a lot of people got rich by having a job or investments or a side income, a side hustle. So you don't necessarily need to create your own business. But in case that's what you want to do, everything is covered on how I did it, and I'm still making vast majority of my money through my agency. So you're gonna you're gonna get that information. But then if you implement these principles, you're affecting reality on all 3 levels of existence: the quantum field, the mental playground, and then the physical aspect. So what you're gonna notice is that you may now start to have more desire, more internal motivation to work and do the right things. You're going to start noticing that it's easier for you to make the right decisions when it comes to money, to stop splurging, to start putting money in the right things. You may start experiencing synchronicities, whatever that is. Find the dollar bill on the streets, get a raise in work, even if you don't ask for it. Or maybe there's just, some way the money's going to show up, right? You don't necessarily have to know which path, and you can still do something about it. You can still try the business. There's going to be another way. I also show you how to earn more money within the course. But bottom line, if you put in the work, there's 100% chance of you making more money with this. But again, it really comes down to putting in the work, whether that comes through synchronicities or taking inspired action in your job or business. Here's the bottom line. You have clearly a goal in your mind, Joe. Am I right? You have a destination in your mind. Let's say you want to fly to Paris, which I highly recommend. It's a beautiful city. Now, whether you fly there with one airline or another, or you take a boat or a ship or you drive there, it doesn't really matter as long as you get to the destination. Now, of course, you can do affirmations, you can do visualization. Those are, imagine like a bike and a car. It'll take a long time to get to France from America, probably not even going to cross the ocean. So I'm giving you like a private jet here. Changing your memories is by far the fastest way to get there. And really, I believe the only way to permanently get there. Because even if people make progress with some of these other techniques and methods, they fall right back because they didn't address that unconscious conflict. Consciously they want more. Unconsciously, their brain is telling them it's not safe. So I'm giving you the private jet to get to the destination, whatever that is, more money, whatever. But the bottom line is there's multiple ways to get to the same destination. And as long as you get there fast, that's what matters. Cheryl, I bought many LOA, so Law of Attraction courses, books, ebooks. Why is this different? And this is a wonderful question because the real reason this is different is because it's not about more affirmations. It's not about more changing limiting beliefs. And we may cover some of those things, right? I may talk about affirmations and they can work. Or I may talk about meditation. It's a wonderful thing. I'm not saying these things don't work. They all have its own value. But unless you change your identity and rewrite your past, especially childhood, you can do all these things, but you're never really going to get the outcome. Because again, you're taking all the right action, but it's like this big thing sabotaging you, which is really you. And unless you get out of your own way, I don't care if you do affirmations and meditation 24/7, it's still not going to work. So really the biggest difference is that unlike a lot of the stuff out there, we go directly to the source of the problem. I mean, some of you may be wondering, why did I call this the Source Hacker Program? The reason this is called the Source Hacker Program, because we really go to the source of the problem and we address it head on. So instead of dabbling around the surface and trying to change a diet or do stuff like that, we really ask ourselves, well, why is this a problem in the first place? Where did this come from? And let's try to address that before we do anything else. And that's how you get the results you want to get. So again, to recap on that, the reason it's called source, because we go to the source of the problem, the root cause that's creating all these symptoms, right? If you're struggling with money, if manifestation's inconsistent, unreliable, if you can manifest the small things, not the big things, if you feel like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, those are not the real problem. I've got good news. Those are just symptoms. And once you go to the real root cause and fix that, then all these things fall into place and these problems go away. Right? Let's see. Perfect. Craig, can I pay now but start in the month? Yes, you can start at your own pace. I know some people have maybe vacation going on or planning to do one or whatever else may be going on. If you purchase now, that means you're going to lock in the bonuses and the discount. And then you can start whenever. You have unlimited access to it. You can do it at your own pace. You can go through this program in 4 weeks, 30 days, or you can go through this program in 90 days. Depends on how fast you want to move. It's completely up to you. Ricky, how much time do I need to dedicate to make it work? I mean, look, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out. It's as simple as that. But even if you just put in, 30, 60, 90 minutes a day, that's good enough to get you started, to get you learning the principles, start applying them. Because again, you can change these memories pretty quickly. So it doesn't take forever. Like I said, you can deal with PTSD level memories sometimes in 20, 30, 40 minutes. And changing one memory like that can completely change your life. So it doesn't have to take a ton of time to get this done. And then, like I said, you're also getting the phone app, which is going to do a lot of the work programming for you while you sleep, while you relax, while you do whatever, while you commute to work. Amanda, what if I don't buy now? Will the price go up? And the answer is yes. Chances are after this, when the stream ends, I may keep the sale up for... I'm still debating whether it's going to be like a day, like today only, or it's gonna be maybe a little bit of time, like a few days. But max, I'm thinking maybe a week, and then I'll definitely take down the offer. We'll take in another batch of people, maybe a couple dozen. We'll work with them closely in a group format, get them awesome results, and then when we relaunch it, we're definitely going to at least double the price to $997, and we may not relaunch it for another 6 months or 12 months, right? Like, I'm constantly evolving this. This is already not the first version. This is the 2.0 version. But when it comes back, the 3.0, it'll definitely be more expensive. So look, Amanda, if you want to get the best deal and still grab the bonuses, I highly recommend you pull the trigger now. And I'd love to see you in. And it'd be my absolute honor and privilege to serve you guys. Because again, at one point, when I've made the $1 million at 19 and then many more later, at one point, money doesn't really float your boat anymore. Like, you make the money problems go away. That's it. Is not much more interesting, or it really doesn't drive you to make more money. So what I'm trying to say is my main motive right now is not necessarily make more money. If you pay me $500, it's not going to change my quality of life one iota. I'm still going to wake up in the same place. I'm still going to travel the world. I'm still going to love my life. So $500 is not going to change my life one bit, but I know it can 100% change your life totally, like 180 degrees. So I'm not necessarily doing this for money. Like I said, the agency easily takes care of my lifestyle and more, and I still invest like 50+% of my money each and every month. But this is more like my passion project, my purpose work, and it really fulfills me. Like, agency is good for money, but this kind of stuff is good for becoming even richer by changing lives. It's good for profits and purpose. It's good for impact and income. And the main motivation I have with this stuff is with impact. I really want to create success stories. I really want you guys to create a life you love. And those messages you saw before, I mean, that's what means the most to me. When people send me a message and they say their depression's gone or they made this much more money, because I know if you make more money, that can fuel the life of your dreams. That can fuel the marriage of your dream. That can let you travel the world. You know, maybe money doesn't directly buy happiness. Like, you don't deposit money into a bank account and it spits out happiness, but it can get rid of things that steal your happiness. If you have fears and concerns around lack of money, how are you going to pay these bills, blah, 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 by making more money, those things go away. Therefore, your happiness does go up. So that's really what this is all about. And again, I don't have to do this. Not going to change my life one iota. But what fulfills me, what keeps, driving me, is that impact that I can create. And I really hope you listening right now, yes, you're going to be the person that gets impacted by this work. And I really hope that if you do get a better life from this, that you eventually pass on this knowledge. And I'm not saying, okay, promote Source Hacker, whatever. Just pass it on in your own words, because this stuff has the, potential to change your life. And if you really do it, it will. And I really hope that you're going to take this information and impact the people around you, your kids, your parents, your friends, your community, whatever that is. Even if you want to change the world like I have, a mission of impacting 1 billion people, that is my why. My why on a deeper level is I really believe that the world right now in the 21st century is going through so much suffering that is completely unnecessary. And it's mainly because there's an outdated educational system. We were never taught how to manage our emotions, how to change our memories. And people are going through so much heartache, so much problem, financial issues, health issues, because they just don't know what they don't know. They don't know how this works. And this is the key to unlock the door and fix all of these problems. And it really works. It's how I change my life and how I change hundreds of others. And I'm very confident if you take this key and you do it, it's going to change your life too. So that is my why. I believe life, I believe, is a gift. Whatever you believe in, God or the universe, the fact that you're alive means you receive one of the greatest gifts out there. I think the greatest gift is gift of life. The fact that you're breathing right now, your heart's beating, you don't even have to think about it. Something loved you enough to give you this amazing gift of life. And here you are today. And I think one of the best ways we can thank our Creator and celebrate our lives is to shape our lives into a life we love, to really truly live a life we love. And I think that is the greatest way to live life. More important than making money or more important than appearing high status in society, whatever these things people optimize their life for, I think the most important thing to optimize for, I strongly believe, is a life you love, because a life you love is a life worth living. And that is the exact same gift I want to give to you. So the timer is clocking down. We have less than 2.5 minutes on the seminar. So if you haven't purchased by now, I encourage you to purchase right now, because the question you're going to be faced with until you're ready to change is the following. The question is not whether or not you should invest in this program or any other question out there. The question is whether or not you're ready to commit to having the things that you visualized, right? The things that you envisioned in your mind just like an hour ago. Are you committed to having those things, or is this just another dream or another thing that would be nice to have? You decide, because that's what the real question is about, whether or not you're committed to that, or whether or not you want to stay where you are and let things stay stagnant and get even worse. Because if you're not growing, things are dying. There's no way to stay in the same spot. You're either moving forward, moving backwards. And that is the real question you're going to be faced with until you're ready to change. And if you move in right now, yes, there's still bonuses. You can get in and lock in this deal at $500, lifetime access, and I really encourage you to do so because it can completely change your life. Paul, can I pay after I get results? My friend, I already covered this. People that don't pay they don't pay attention, they don't follow through. I've been in those shoes. If you pay, people pay attention, people finally follow through, get results. So, you have to pay and show me that you are committed, because I like to work with committed people, and that's what it takes for a person to get results. Everybody has desires, everybody has dreams, but very few people actually have ambition, and very few people actually do something about it. So I invite you to be one of those people. I mean, you decide which one of those two categories you are. Donna, will there be a replay? Like I mentioned, no. I may do an encore, and chances are the price will go up in the next couple encores that I do. But no, there's no replays. Stephanie, do you use hypnosis and any other questionable techniques? Hypnosis, not in particular, but anything we use is scientifically proven, and it really does work. So look, we're less than 20 seconds away from closing the stream down. So at this point, I really encourage you to go to petersabo.co/now. We'll make sure that you get a bonus. We can still get you locked in, and we'll lock you in at the best price. And it's 100% guaranteed. If for whatever reason you don't like it and you've given it an honest shot, we'll just refund your money. As simple as that. So take action right now. You can do that by clicking there or going to the link. So I'll be closing down the stream right now. This is the last thing I wanted to say is don't let life pass you by. Invest in yourself 100% risk-free, because this is how most people live. They hope that one day, some people will care about their dreams more than they do, and someone will hand them everything they need in a silver platter, and that they're out of nowhere going to manifest a life they love. Don't let life pass you by. Make a decision. It all starts with a very small decision. It's a simple decision of investing into Source Hacker. It's a 100% guaranteed investment. If it doesn't work, you get your money back, but do something about it. Like I said, it's completely guaranteed. If you're skeptical, just show me you did the work. I'll get your money back, even an extra $100. Because sometimes it's the smallest decisions that change your life forever. I want to leave you this one last idea that I got from Tony Robbins. It's called the 80-year-old rocking chair test. Whenever I'm faced with a fork in the road, and I promise you this is the last thing I'm covering, I usually envision my life in two scenarios. Let's say I made the decision, I did invest, and how my life looks like 80 years into the future, or I did not invest, nothing changed, and I envision myself 80 years into the future. And I usually start with not moving, because a lot of people think it's less risk to not do anything. Okay, I'm not going to take any risk. I don't know if this is going to work, so I'm not going to do anything, and I'll just let life kind of unfold the way it's been unfolding. And, I just imagine myself 80, 100 years old in my rocking chair, kind of looking back on my life and asking myself some profound questions. Did I live a life I wanted to live? Did I maximize the things I wanted to maximize out? My health, wealth, happiness. Did I contribute as much as I wanted to? Did I live a life that I truly loved, a life that I can be proud about? What would my parents think about me? Would they be proud of the person I've become? What would my kids think about me? What would your friends, community, how would they remember you? Bob, Cindy, Peter, whatever your name is, how would you be remembered if you kept living life the way you live it right now? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just a little exercise for you to make the right decision when you're faced with a fork in the road, right? On the other hand, if that's not a picture you like seeing, then I invite you to imagine this. If you do make this decision and you invest, and even if it's a leap of faith for you, I remember when I invested $2,000, it was a massive leap of faith, but I knew I had to do it. So I would envision myself, okay, I made this decision. I learned how to manifest the life, how to change my identity, to rewrite my past. I use this to create a better life, to create better health, wealth, happiness. Maybe start my own business, maybe quit my job if that's what you want, travel the world, give back to my community, to my parents, my friends. How would life look like? Looking back in hindsight, is this a better life? Is this a life I want to live? Is this a life I'm proud of? My parents looking down on me, what would they think? Would they be proud of their son, their daughter? You did it. Your kids, what would they think about you? Or your brothers and sisters, the people around you, your spouse? What would they say? Wow, Peter defied the odds. He made it happen. He lived a life that inspired me and inspired many other people. What would your community, what would the world say? Look, when I die, when I pass away, gosh, one thing I'd love to have on my tombstone is the word inspiration. because I want to give people the inspiration that, yes, even if you're destined for failure, destined for an average mediocre life like I was. Parents never made more than $2-3 an hour. I was never supposed to make millions of dollars. I was never supposed to travel the world as a high school dropout. But yet I did it. I defied the odds, and it's not because I'm anything special. It's not because I'm smart. I just paid a ton of money and a ton of time to learn these things from mentors, this wisdom. I put it into practice. I followed through until it worked. And it let me create and manifest the life I love. And I'm proud of the life I live, and I really, truly do live in it. I genuinely mean that. And I believe if you can create a life you love, that is a life worth living. And that's a life I'd live again. So that is my wish for you, my friend, is to do whatever it takes to live a life you love, because that's the most important thing that we can do as human beings. And to celebrate that by sharing these principles and ideas with other people so that they can create a life they love too. Because if we create a world where everybody loves their life, I think that's the way to create a better world, a better life for everyone. So thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me that you showed up today, and I really hope that this information served you. And for those of you guys who made a very wise decision to join Source Hacker, I'll see you on the inside. Like I said, I'm closing the stream right now. And if you want to join, this is the final call to action. Click on the button, or you can go to the link. Again, the link is petersabo.co/now. Get enrolled now, and I look very much forward to seeing you in there.